Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Tarnation TV. This evening's race is going to be a good one. We're showing basically a full house already. Anyway, my name is Blaine Donlan, joined with my co-host Rod Weston. Sir Rod, how have you been?
I am good, buddy. I'm good. We're in for a treat tonight. All-star racing. Love it. You gotta love it. Every driver in here has either won a race or a championship, with a few exceptions of the open invitational guys that made it into the show. And it's a long one, so it should be a great night of racing. Talladega, 3 wide, 4 wide. I don't like it. You love this stuff, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, that list you see on your screen there, scrolling on the right, those are the drivers that either won a championship here at the Primetime Racing League, won a race here at the Primetime Racing League in the last couple months, qualified to be in this race, and then you'll see the bottom 4 in Gary Heiser, Brian Wolf, Perry Bond, and Gary Mingus. The open drivers, those are basically the final spots had to be filled, and running some open races here, they were able to position properly in order to make the race. So that's cool for them. Congratulations to those guys to fill out the field. And
if you're familiar with how they do this on Saturday night, they do actually 2 races, one at Daytona and one at Talladega. They do it a little differently. One week they qualify, the next week they don't qualify. Tonight it is a random, or we'll call it lotto qualifying.
Yep.
No points, no money, no nothing. Bragging rights for the next week and for the whole year, saying that you are the all-star winner.
And that's the thing, man. And the drivers, you can see there too, we're racing at Primetime Super Speedway, which is a retextured version of Talladega. We're doing it at night under the lights, and the walls are different colors, and it's pretty neat what these guys can do to this old simulator that we love to call home, NASCAR Racing 2003 season. Another heavily modified version of Talladega to make it run way better. The original stock version of this track that shipped with the game 20 whatever years ago now, it was like basically a one groove track. It's been modified over the years to be a, like you said before, 3 or 4 wide track. I mean, You can race anywhere on this thing. Fixed setup means every driver will be running the same setup. The admins will go into the garage portion of the game, tweak all these things to work with the track. Very, very good setup. Damage will be set to moderate. If you set the damage to realistic on a track like this, like a super speedway, it tends to, you can't bump draft as vigorously as you might want to. So moderate lets you definitely throw your bumper around out here.
Oh yeah, and what a minor mistake could cost you a chance to even be competitive in the race. With moderate damage, sometimes it will wreck the truck really bad. We don't want to see that happen, but usually if you don't wreck too bad, you just go in, they pound it out, and you're back out there racing.
Yeah, it's the pit crew sometimes gets they definitely get a workout. It's a long race tonight, 85 laps like we were saying. The drivers voted to have it extended a little bit, so we're running 45% of the original race. Of course, in the settings, you can choose to run 100%, which I believe at Talladega is at 150 miles. It's a 200-mile, 500-mile race, 400-mile race. I don't know the numbers for the real Talladega.
I forget. I think you're pretty close to that. Yeah.
They would run like 120 laps almost, 150 laps if it was full.
I believe it's about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's about 150 or something like that. Like I said, I've never really sat down and figured that out. But as you said, get ready for some really, really good racing. These trucks, they really actually make it kind of cool. They, the trucks race really good. They draft well together. They, suck up to them really good. Like I said before, you'll see some 3 wide, possibly 4 wide racing, and you'll be shaking your head. And these guys will just do this lap after lap. And I'm the guy that's in the back going, these guys are crazy.
Yep. And I'm pretty crazy. Like when I race at this track, I'll take a 4 wide. I don't care. And the game gets confused because the crew chief's only programmed to say you're 3 wide. When you go more than 3 wide, he just tells you to hold your line. So then now we're talking. We're like, hold your line. There's calls all around you. hold your line. He's like, okay, I come through 4 or 5 wide right now, and I can't see what's going on. But that's where the TeamSpeak channel comes into play, because all these guys are connected on TeamSpeak, which runs behind the game, so that we can all stay in communication with each other. So when that happens, you'll tend to find the guys that are seeing this in front of them. They'll be hollering out pretty quick. You guys are 4 wide up there, you know, so they know to really hold on to that line. You can't really veer out of your lane too much when it's a 4 wide situation, but this track can handle it because it is wider than Daytona.
Well, I remember when I first started racing with these guys, and I've never been a big fan of the super speedway racing at all. You know, I couldn't keep my focus 2x2, thinking, you know, this is crazy. You know, I got to back up, go to the back. Then I started racing with these guys, and they're 3 and 4 wide, and I'm going, oh my God, this is never going to work. And before you know it, I was out there running in the third groove out with them. And so it's pretty cool. These guys are a blast to race with.
Do you want to take a fly around this track? Oh, yeah, what's going on here? I want to get the drone cam working.
Yeah, I think they restarted.
Yeah, they've restarted.
Maybe somebody didn't have the right truck, or maybe been a little off on time.
So thanks to whoever designed this track, they put the Tarnation TV logo in the middle of the infield there. So Primetime Racing, Super Speedway. But yeah, this track is a monstrosity, to say the least. 2.66 miles in length. Takes about what? If you're running by yourself, it takes about 55 seconds to get around this thing at about 180 miles an hour. When you're running in the draft, you're running up around 200 to 205 miles an hour. And it only takes you, what, about 43?
About 43, 44, 45 seconds. It really depends, too. You know what I mean? If you're on the high side, the middle side, the low, you know, how much of the accordion effect is taking effect, you know, so that means basically if somebody has to lift, you know, that starts stacking up and going back. That'll slow them down a bit, too.
Yeah. So you'll see here, this is the pit entrance. This cone, that white line right there, are going to be your commitment cone. That's where the speed limit starts. 55 mile an hour speed limit. So when you're coming out of turn 4 down here and you're 3 wide, you got to make a pit stop and you're doing 203 miles an hour. You have to somehow figure out how to get that thing slowed down to 55 miles an hour before you hit that cone. If you can't get inside the cone, you're obviously going to get a penalty for not entering properly. If you hit the thing too fast, you're going to get a speeding penalty. Same on the way out. There's a cone on the other end. Between the cones, you got to keep it 55 or under.
And you'll see some people, if we happen to catch it, we're under caution or green flag pit stops. You'll see them come in there, and it'll look like, maybe they went a little too fast, and they don't get a penalty. Well, there's a thing called hot pitting, and some people are good at it. There is no rule against it in this league. And so that's where some people make up a little time. I've always talked about, you know, the delta time where getting in the pits and out of the pits faster than anybody else. Obviously, 55 down the track, you're not going to go any faster than anybody else down there. But getting off the track onto that point where you stop, and then once you get off the pit road and getting up the speed as fast as you possibly can, that can gain you quite a bit here.
And it's good to have friends. You know, pitting alone out here is, I mean, you do whatever you want. It's a racing sim. You can get on to pit road all by yourself. But like you say, when you're in the draft, you're talking a good like 15, almost 20 miles an hour, just in having people around you breaking the air and being able to work together to get your speed back up.
And sometimes, like you said, though, you know, pitting by yourself, we always talk about Bob Dixon being world famous for pitting by himself, and he doesn't normally lose out. That's where, you know, getting in, getting out. I think we all kind of feel that Bob likes to do that just so that he's not necessarily pitting with a pound load of trucks, because when you do that, sometimes, you know, somebody misbreaks, somebody this, you know, and you end up bumping into each other, and it causes a lot more problems. So I'm kind of like Bob. I've never been an early pitter. I've always tried to stay in the back, but I've always tried to see if I could just pit. You want to pit with some of your buddies, but you don't want to pit with a really big pack.
And that's worked for Bob. We've seen him win both ways.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
seen him pit, you know, off pace, like, you know, out of sequence, And we've also seen him, like last week, he won a race. I think it was Saturday last week. He won the Saturday race, and he actually was pitting in sequence with the pack.
Yep.
So it works both ways. I mean, tonight we've got a full house. There's 35 people connected to the server right now. So there's only 5 empty slots. Every single driver on this track you'll see tonight, it's a real person, and they painted their car. So real people painting cars, sitting behind their desk, driving. And it's going to be fun, a lot of fun. These all-star races are always cool. There's no points involved. It's just bragging rights, like you said. So it should be fairly neat to observe.
And there are people all over the United States. There's, I'm over here on the East Coast. I know Mike Vangelarly's over on the West Coast. Graham McDonald's up in Canada, up there with you. I'm not sure if there's any other guys from up in the Canadian area, but they're basically almost in every state in the United States except for Hawaii. I don't know if there's anybody in here from Alaska as well, but they're all over the place. Yeah,
there's a few Canadian. I know Outlaw. I haven't seen Outlaw in a while.
Right.
There's a few guys north of the border. But yeah, it brings everybody together, man.
I think the furthest away I've raced somebody in this sim was in Australia.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a league that I ran in. They had one guy from Australia, and we were racing at 7, 8 o'clock, at night, and he was getting up in the morning and coming in and racing this.
Yeah, I know. Like they have to have, there's leagues in different countries for a reason, because if you want to get going and it's 1 a.m, it's not going to happen. But like it's cool to play. I've even done it when I've played Call of Duty, like just log into an Asian server every once in a while. You might ping a little bit higher, but you're getting like a different style of players too.
Yep.
Because everybody plays these games different, and a lot of guys from South America that play this too. Even though NASCAR you wouldn't think is that big down there, but it is.
Oh yeah.
The race, everybody loves the racing, man, and a lot of road courses and. I mean, this league alone, they almost run every single night of the week.
Yeah. And
yep.
You're just going to say this game is standing the test of time. And once people started making mods for it and different type of mods and all that, there's still a pretty good community of people that run on the NASCAR 2003. And if you're interested in racing, Primetime Racing League, you can look it up. Maybe we'll have to have Blaine kind of give us a link out there so somebody can find their way to their Facebook page and come up and go racing with them. They just grab a wheel. They get the games free. It's a lot of fun. Some great painters in here too. If you look at some of these trucks we'll see tonight, Rodney Sullivan's. I know some of the guys paint their own, but there are some excellent painters that make some really cool looking rigs.
Yeah, I mean, I paint my own stuff. Sullivan's is a big one. Divins. There's too many to list. Bernie Mobs, Dr. Noise. He doesn't even race here, but Dr. Noise is one of the guys in the community that literally has painted thousands of cars, recreating specific years in specific series. Like if you liked NASCAR in 1998 and you liked a specific roster, there's a mod for 1998, so the cars looked like they're from the late 90s. And Dr. Noise would have meticulously gone through the roster and recreated every car for that specific series. And then, of course, there's trucks, and there's 2008 cars, and there's rally cars, F1 cars. Like, it doesn't matter what discipline. Somebody's probably made a mod
and
we can run it,
And you and I were talking earlier this morning as we were kind of just making sure we had all the trucks and everything ready to go. There's about 3 or 4 different styles of Chevrolet trucks. Some of the newer body styles, some of the older body styles. And this particular mod's been out for quite a few years. So I think it's 2015. So some of the painters have kept up, like you said, and made some of the modern templates for it. And like I said, some guys are just running the original templates that came with it.
Oh, looks like we're going into grid mode here.
We went through the qualifying because remember it was random qualifying, so that was going to be a quick in and out.
Yep.
Now we're going to have a 5-minute of practice. Maybe we should see if we can grab. Is it Mike Wolf? You said you wanted to talk with him a little bit. Let's see how he's doing tonight.
Brian.
Brian. Sorry, my bad, Brian. See, I've got to get used to it. All right, hold on.
There's Brian right there. Brian Wolf from Fluid Studios in the number 29.5. What's going on, buddy? Live on the air.
Hey, what's happening? You got me?
I got you, buddy.
Let me pull off here. I just pulled out onto the track.
Go for a drive, man. We're watching. Yeah. This is what we do here. We gotta show the people some stuff here, so we gotta make sure we're driving. We always make sure the people are driving before we start talking to them. But yeah, man, you I mean, of course, if anybody doesn't know who Brian Wolf is, he helped me start this Tarnation TV thing, years ago, and it's evolved into what it is now, and done a lot of stuff with Brian over the years. And you're back out there now running a 295 in an old 2.9 truck.
We were joking around. Is it going to be? Do we call it the 295? So we said no. We got to be the 29.5. Then I said, well, maybe we should call it the 29.5.
Now, 295 is fine. How that number came about actually was, one of the hashtags for Canon. Actually, Blaine notes the story was Forever 5. So, yep. And since my 29 number was taken for this league, we just added the Forever 5 to 29 and made it 295.
Very cool.
So where are you racing now? Because you qualified here in the open draw to make it into this all-star race, and then you found Racing League at ASR.
Yeah, that's kind of where I landed. It's actually where I got my start in serious points, racing, sim racing, was at ASR, and then I've come full circle, and that's kind of where I landed back at home. With ASR, so I'm glad to be able to give them guys a plug tonight. We run on Wednesday nights. We have an open set Cup Series mod. That's the highest. Yeah, it's just the highest level of this game you're going to find as far as challenge. You know what I mean? Because it is open setup and it's the Cup physics. So the cars are a little bit heavier, a little bit bulkier, but it's a blast, man. ASR, and we run trucks on Tuesday nights, and then we have a new Xfinity series that runs on Thursday nights. That's really been fun, using the 2015 DMX or DMR or whatever it's called, but that's our Xfinity cars, and those are both fixed setups. But our Cup series on Wednesday nights it's challenging, man. It's pretty high level competition.
Which Cup mod do you guys run?
It's the BR15.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bull Ring always had like those BR15. Like that's a very popular one. So is the Monster Energy 2019. That's another big one, but it's usually between that Men's Cup 19 and the Bull Ring, a Bull Ring mod of some sort. It's always no shortage of cars and trucks to drive in this thing.
Oh, absolutely. There's no shortage of mods, that's for sure. But that one's always worked well for us. It's just been so much fun. And like I said, ASR is where I landed. And I wouldn't mind if we've got the time, I'll make a little announcement here. We've got a new track coming out. John Godfrey was kind enough to work with me over the last 6-8 months. Before I even went into the hospital, I suffered some health issues this past year. Got it right.
I see smoking, Brian. See how good Brian is right there? He just does about 7 guys.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think he closed his eyes.
But yeah, this new track we got coming out, it's going to be titled after my brand. It's Fluid Raceway Park. It's actually modeled after, here we go again. It's actually modeled after Michigan, my real home track of Michigan, and I wanted to dedicate it to Cannon because you and I have been doing these races. We're coming up on the 5th annual race for him, so we had the track kind of dedicated to him a little bit to have a place to have our annual race every year for Cannon and try to put an end to this senseless gun violence. And you guys know that whole story. But also the track is dedicated to ASR itself. It features a lot of drivers you'll see in the billboards and stuff, past and present, and a lot of our logos throughout the grass and the walls, and a lot of cool eye candy stuff to look at. And Blaine, we're trying to get a date scheduled down for you so we can not just that race, but we're going to hold like a grand opening type of maybe some kind of New Year's bash or something sometime in January.
Yeah, that'll be awesome, man. Get over there and try that new track out. That'll be super cool.
And like I said, it's modeled right after Michigan. You know, Talladega, as much fun as this is, it's been done. You know what I mean? So we picked Michigan, my home track. It's based, you know, all your setups and everything will work with it. And it's just a fun track to drive. We've got a fixed setup for it over there that goes, you know, 210, 211 at your fastest speed. So it's it's wild. It's a fun track to race.
Yeah, Michigan's cool. Once they get that setup locked in, man, it's a super wide track too, so you can literally drive anywhere on that thing. And it looks like we're gridding up, but yeah, man,
Okay.
check out Brian. Everybody saw on the screen there Brian's YouTube channel. That'll take you to Fluid Studios and watch some of his stuff. But thanks for joining us, Brian, there pre-racing.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I got to get to work here. This is my second race. I did pretty well last night and did pretty good night in the sprint. So we'll see what we can do here with these guys on the weekends. It's going to be fun. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it, Blaine.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck. All right.
Now for the long race.
Yeah, get comfortable.
85 laps. 85 laps. That's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a lot of big caution. You know, that slows things down a little bit. I like to see some green flag pitting, and really changes the field up a lot because you get, like I said before, you know, to make up time, you got to do it coming in and getting out, and you have drivers that are good at it, drivers that aren't so good at it, and you know, ends up splitting up the field usually quite a bit.
That's the thing, though, when you got an 85 lap race and it's set to 2x. So what we mean when we talk about 2x is the fuel consumption and the way the tires will fall apart. And this is a fixed setup, so it's really the only adjustments you can do in a fixed setup is how many tires are you changing, how much fuel you're taking, and that's pretty much it. You don't have access to the, like, what is it, like camber and wedge and all that stuff.
Though you can't. The only thing you can adjust is how many tires you're taking. We've got a little bit of a fender banger going on in the back.
Yeah,
I think something started with that.
Yeah, something peculiar happened there.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy, fired up here.
I was just going through. I see Alex Moe's in the field. I didn't realize he was there. Robert Breedlove.
Yeah, we got a lot of drivers here tonight. Thank you very much to everybody who's watching on YouTube, of course. You got Benjamin Snyder in the chat there. BR15 is the best mod ever. I agree, man. Like the High Voltage Racing League and the Maverick Cup Series use the BR15 mod. They've actually signed Tarnation TV on to go with them for 2025 season of their Cup Series. So that's going to be a lot of fun racing at Maverick. And they got a crazy schedule. They've got tracks for days, custom tracks, and a lot of drivers too. A big driver count over there. So yeah, Tarnation TV moving forward with Maverick for their next season, so that'll be a lot of fun. Waiting for these guys.
Heavy Underground was luckily able to get the pole, and tonight he is in the Coke truck, which is we're used to seeing him in the Sun Drop. Now tonight he's in a Coke truck.
Yeah, I think the Coke truck too might just be a holiday special.
Yeah. There's a few different trucks out here. Most of the guys are running the same. There's a few new ones out here tonight just for the All-Star race.
As they roll off here, 33 drivers on track tonight. I had to re-rack them. We'll focus on Javier Negron in the 40. Make sure to subscribe to Tarnation TV. Subscriptions are free for the next 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
See, we got Eric Lovell out here tonight too. Greg Lovell's out here. Most of these guys I'm familiar with. We did a lot of the, I think it was the Truck Series on Sunday, the IPS Excellence Series back there when it ran on Talladega nights.
Yep.
There's pretty much all these same drivers out there. Just going to have to get used to some of the new trucks. But most of the guys are, all are in their own same numbers and such, so we shouldn't have too many problems with that. Some of the, like I said, new paint schemes. Bobby Iser stole my mellow yellow paint scheme tonight. That's not bad. I like it. It's a nice looking truck.
Mellow yellow is always a classic.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff.
There's a lot of trucks on the track, so we're going to try to get through most of them. Parade lap. They did do a full parade lap. I probably could have got through most of them, but we'll see what we can do. Javier, we'll definitely try to catch up with Javier sometime during the race. He was a championship winner there last week.
That's right, too. I forgot about that.
Truck series. Yeah, it was a truck series, Friday night truck series. At this same track, Primetime Super Speedway. That pace truck's going to get the heck out of the way. He's going to make a hard left, go down pit road. And we're going to get this thing under green. 85 laps this evening. Should be exciting. Now, there's a question for you. The 2X multiplier. That means fuel and tires will burn away twice as fast as they would in normal real life situations, which would be about 40 laps in real life. So they put it at 2X, and we're looking around 20. So
20, yes. They say you can go either way, and we're off to the green flag there. You can go either way, basically depending on how you drive. If you're the leader, you're pulling the whole field around. You probably only get around 19 laps. Mm-hmm. If you're the guy that's in the back that's lifting a lot, just because that's the way that line is going, you might be able to get 21.
How long before these guys go 3 wide?
Oh, they're already going to be 3 wide. Just as soon as I would say by the time we get to start finish line on the backstretch, it looks like we're already 3 wide.
Yep.
The trucks, especially, I don't know what it is. Even though the Minsk Cup is run with the CTX physics, which is exactly the same, these trucks always seem to just race, draft up better, and they run side by side all night long.
Yeah, and all these guys, they love this track. And it doesn't take them long. Like most of the time we talk about how you need to let the vehicle get warmed up a bit before you really start to drive them. Because this is a simulator and there is heat in the tires. There's all that stuff that needs to actually get warmed up. But here at Talladega with the rail tight setup that they use, it's a really good setup, and you can drive it pretty aggressive pretty quick.
Greg Palmer was able to lead the first lap there. We got the outside groove there with Ken Roberts on the high side there. Yeah, looks like he's trying to get that high side going. Dan Lovell got kind of stuck in what we call the sucker hole there. When you get 3 wide, that unless you got a lot of trucks, and they only got 4 trucks in line, it looks like Mike Mangialardi's kind of catching up to that group. But I just don't think that's going to be enough to get back up there in the front until they get some more trucks together in that middle groove. Now they're trying to go 4 wide.
I was going to say they're looking that 8 Greg Lovell.
Greg
looking
Lovell
down
there,
that wall. Are they going to do it?
Oh, they will eventually before the night's out. Yeah. It didn't really work out that time. You just keep an eye on it. They'll end up there.
It is 4 wide right now. Greg is on the top of a 4 wide pack. Not for very long.
These guys will do this all night long.
Yeah.
And you hope you don't want to see any incidents, but it can happen real quick. Just a bump gone wrong. Somebody, their spotter just doesn't quite clear them, and it gets pretty messy. But it's cool to watch these guys. Like I've always said, I'd rather be up here watching and announcing it than being down there racing it.
4 laps in, and it already feels like we've been going for 10 or 15.
Yeah.
Ulysses Sandoval on that bright green 96 Holiday Edition.
He's in the Sprite truck tonight.
I'm sure Mama Sandoval is watching, so hello, Mama Sandoval. Ulysses won a big race last week there, too.
Oh, yes, he did. And a championship.
And I was going to say the championship. He won the championship.
Yeah.
He won the championship when I actually had the stats wrong. I forgot to update the stats. I think it was Brian. And then Graham corrected us. It was like, no. He goes, that was the old one I sent you. So then he sent me the updated version. And it was actually Ulysses Sandoval.
To be fair about that, too, I mean, we were doing 2 races, and it wasn't just who beat who. It was still a points race, although there was only 4 drivers capable of winning the championship. It was depending on who did what. Brian Lovell ran the first race, was out in front of everybody, but he was followed closely by, I believe it was Grant Oaks and remember Graham were right behind him at the end of the race.
Yep.
So he didn't really have a great points lead, although none of them led a lap. So there was pretty close. And when we got to the second one, unfortunately for Brian, he got tangled up in a mess that got him kind of off the lead draft. And he got it done. He got out in front of ahead of all them guys and accumulated more points than anybody else did.
Yeah, that was a cool race. So very neat format to have to pull 2 races off like that and update stats in between races. And currently focused on the 7-Eleven of John Godfrey. Brian Wolf was talking about all the help he's been with retexturing tracks. He also retextured this one. Anytime a track gets retextured with new models and artwork, it's usually John's fault. So thanks, John, for all the stuff you do, because it always looks awesome. That's the reason that the Tarnation TV logo is on the infield of this race. There's Grant Weston on the high side in that yellow truck. These guys have been running 3 wide the whole entire race.
See, I keep looking through the field a little bit, noticing people that I didn't notice. Some of the guys didn't get out there and practice much. They've done this enough, so they know what they've got. So, but they don't get out there. So I see Dan Lovell's out there tonight, running right behind Greg Palmer, who was our earlier leader. It doesn't take long to get shuffled out, and the next thing you know, you're in the back of the pack, and then you got to work your way back forward. Billy Heiser on the high side, though, right there in front of Greg Palmer.
I know I just had Dan. Where is he? 388.
Oh, yeah, he dropped down
12th,
in the middle.
Yeah.
He kind of... You gotta... That's the thing about this racing. It's not just straightforward. You really have got to think about who you're behind, who you're pushing, what they're doing. You got to keep track of what line's getting the momentum, what one isn't. Where do you need to be? And that's why I was never really good at it, because I was too busy holding my breath, not getting enough, oxygen to the brain. And
yeah, looking at the front of the pack here, finally, Perry Bond in the number 60, followed by Nate Balser and Mark Paglia. Now, it is so funny how we can come to the exact same track with the exact same track settings, with the same fixed setup. In the trucks and the cars, very, very different. Or even if we replicated the same race tomorrow, the high line will be working better than the low line. The middle line is useless. I don't know how that happens, but it's just the combination of cars on the track and who's working with who and where they running. Some people are comfortable on the bottom, in the middle, on the top, right along the wall. And when you're hooked up with the right people, just different stuff happens, And today, right now, everybody seems to like the bottom.
That's it. That'll change. That will change.
Yeah.
Big thing
It'll
of it
literally
is
change once I finish this sentence is usually what happens.
Oh, yeah. But it's a situation where it's the guys that are going to go faster are the guys, if you notice that bottom line, they're in a pretty much straight line. They're bumper to bumper. There's not a lot of, juking and jiving, as we call it. They're staying really close, really tight. That's a good, fast line. Now, the only way they can make that even faster is doing a little bumping. That can get a little dangerous sometimes. So right now, they're just in a good line. So that outside line is starting to form up doing that. Now, that outside line will get going.
Who's jumping out?
Right now, we've got
Gary
Heiser's out in the lead.
I just mean, who's going to jump out on that low line to catch that?
I was surprised that Dan Lovell didn't do that when they got up beside him, but they're just about there. You'll see a driver from the bottom see that momentum coming. I'm going to jump to the high side because that line's going to go.
Yeah, I'm thinking Wolf would probably do it.
Yep, I just noticed that. I was looking through the lineup there. I was thinking Wolf would. Probably Denny Carroll. Bobby Farrell's there. I don't know if Bobby probably... If you get up that close to the front sometimes, you don't really want to do that. But Nate Balser's up there. Nate's a great super speedway racer.
Yeah, it depends on the fuel window, too. They still have about 10 laps to go before they're going to need to pit. There's Brian. Looks like he's looking. That blue truck on the bottom line there. Randy Waugh right behind him in the 21. Corey's probably watching. Shout out, Corey.
Yeah, not driving a Dodge tonight. We have to give him a hard time about that.
Yeah. Well, like we said, though, it's a Chevy, but maybe he's got a Dodge under the hood.
It could be. NASCAR might have something to say about that, but Randy's a wicked super speedway racer. He doesn't always win, but he has won, and he's always right there.
See, in that camera angle I'm using right now, this spectator camera, by the way, this is a modified camera pack from Reddit user NR Clips. Fantastic spectator cameras where it's one camera angle, never changes, but it zooms in, which is nice. And on that back straightaway, you can really see the bump drafting effect here that this will have. So you'll see them come off this turn. Right now they're in turns 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, coming off the 2. Now here comes the bump. You start to see these guys pushing each other. Not too vicious that time. Sometimes the bumps are insane, but it does help the speed of these things. Currently been locked on Gary Heiser.
They're making ground because, a few laps ago, they were down back where Dan Lovell is. So they're making ground up there. It's a slow pace. It's not, the guys are just running really tight at the bottom, and that's making it a little bit harder. But they'll keep going. Now, mind you, on the bottom, unless you can drift up a little bit, like we've always talked about on the exit of turn 2, right where they're coming in now is 1. On the exit of this here on turn 2, it always seems to get a little tight. For me, at least, I know a lot of these guys talk about that, and it's either you got to lift a little bit to get it to turn, or you got to just turn it and kind of scrub a little speed. Either way, but they're just holding tight right down at the bottom on the straightaways. They're just keeping that train rolling.
Yeah, and speaking of guys who race a lot, even though we weren't really talking about that, but what a great segue. The 97 of Pat McCarskey running back there right now in 26th. He is in every single race I see him to broadcast. There's one common factor. It's going to be Pat.
He's a racer.
He's always got his trucks. He always paints up his own stuff. Yeah, you want a definition of a racer. I mean, I wish, like, that's the one thing about this sim. It doesn't, I mean, the league will track your statistics. But the fact that, unlike iRacing, where you've got like a one login that would literally count your miles, I wonder how many races this guy's actually started, how many laps that he's run. You know what I mean? It'd be thousands. Easy. Of
course, Pat and I think it was, here we go now. I think it's one of the levels. It's the only 2 Dodges in the field tonight. Oh, sorry, I take that back. 3. Graham McDonald's in a Dodge as well.
Is he?
Yep. Graham McDonald's in a Dodge.
Yes.
Pat McCarskey, and the 44 is, I don't know why I can't remember that.
Brian Lovell? He is in a Dodge, yeah. He
is in a Dodge. So they're in the same 3 template. They're the only Dodges in the field tonight, with the exception of what we feel that probably Randy Wallace is in a Dodge with a Chevy body on it.
So Bob Dixon running in 31st. The last truck in the field. 31st position to first place position, there's only a 1.8 second gap in that entire field.
I think you're seeing Bob just playing it smart. He's got the draft. He's not going to lose the draft. He's just staying out of trouble, hoping that these guys don't wreck, but he doesn't want to be involved in it if it does happen.
Focusing there on the 41 of Denny Carroll, rolling around in 5th position right there. I can't see too much happening up the front of the pack right now. These guys, right where they want to be, we're probably within pit stops within the next 4 or 5 or 6 laps. Graham was saying you could squeeze 21 laps out of these things. Tires will not be a huge problem, but they will definitely come into play because we are running 85 laps, which is usually, that's about 20 more than we're used to running. So tires will need to be looked at.
That outside groove, though, is caught up to around about where Randy was, almost up to Brian Wolf. It's, they're creeping up there. It's a long road to go, and we've only got about approximately 3 laps left, and they're going to have to start pitting. So, like you've always talked about, now they're going to start thinking about, all right, do we start aborting this, start working our way down to the bottom? As you can see, some of the drivers are kind of backed off that high groove, and they're dropping down, trying to get down to that lower groove because they know they don't want to get caught on that outside, especially and run out of gas and have to stay out for one more lap.
That's the thing. Now, when you're within 3, you're going to want to start talking to that inside line, maybe seeing if they can find a spot, find a way to get down. And I mean, if they do go early, and maybe the strategy is to stay out an extra lap, then obviously they'll move out of your way, and the pack will get broken up a little bit here, coming up to green flag stops. And just how awesome this is, too, how we're racing in NASCAR 2003 season. Most of the time, these races are better than real life racing.
Yep.
And once you get to know the names of the drivers and stuff, it's pretty cool to see what these guys can pull off. Real people sitting behind a desk. Most of them got steering wheels. Some of them play with a keyboard, gamepad, joysticks, whatever.
And in this one here, I believe everybody's on a steering wheel.
Yeah, Seth Cole's not here, so... Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so here we go. Oh, and just as we said, Brian Wolf's, there are trucks everywhere.
Every which way.
Spinning around. So, Keith Bynum and Dan Lovell managed to sneak by it.
Yeah, we'll just let this dust settle. So the pits will end up being closed because the yellow is out. There's a lot of trucks involved.
The next thing is if the lead truck made it to the line or if they hadn't made it to the line.
So some of these guys are actually driving through and not taking service.
Yeah, you don't stop going under yellow flag conditions like that.
You might have to, though.
Right.
If you're going
to get into the longest line if you do.
Yeah, if you can't make it, take the penalty. Running out of gas is worse.
Gary Heiser's behind the pace truck, so I believe he didn't make it to the line yet, so they'll be able to pit this first time by.
I'm going to get you a camera angle here and an instant replay. Oh, it looks like it happened near the front. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. We got the whole front line broke apart.
And remember, Gary Heiser was the lead truck on the outside groove. He was leading the pack.
Oh, wait, look at that. That is the strangest looking little kinked up thing. Like, it just... Perry got down clean. Everybody seemed to get down clean. Paglia got bumped, and it hooked. And Farrell, they just went in like every direction.
As they were starting to pit. Okay, so could have been, I think you might have been a situation where possibly some guys were going to stay out and some weren't, and the communication just didn't get there. So some guys were lifting and they ended up getting tagged in the rear.
Yeah.
But now,
let's see if I
Gary
can
Heiser and Bob Dixon stayed out. Now, why is that important? Well, they're going to be out there under caution, right? And don't think we had any trucks to lap down. Taking a look at that, no. So they're only probably going to get 2 laps. But if they stay out to the very end of it, they can actually go a little bit further distance. What does that do? It doesn't get themselves caught into a situation like we just saw.
Yeah, that's a lot of guys. I'm getting a wide angle of this, and it doesn't look like there's too much catastrophic damage to anybody. Everybody stayed on the ground. I think the 7 of Farrell probably got the worst of it. He actually come off the ground a little bit, but it didn't roll.
The wall knows it in the front of it into the wall a little bit too, so hopefully not too much damage.
We'll put this camera back on the pit entrance here. Let's see if we go in the cockpit of Farrell, see how bad he got it. Okay, he got tagged once right there, but it was on the side, so it's probably not too bad. Everybody else just sort of spun around.
Yeah, it was just it was one of those scenarios that just didn't work out very well. Yeah, I like his yellow gloves though. That's kind of neat.
Bright yellow gloves, yeah.
Bright yellow gloves.
So I think a lot of cars are going to need brand new tires because they went screeching across, in a sideways angle. But other than that, I mean, we should be all right. It involved a lot of trucks, but hopefully nothing, no damage that can't be dealt with moderate size.
That's your first car. It's trucks. You said car.
Oh yeah, they're trucks. Trucks.
Gary Heiser did pit the next time around. He's taking at least 2 tires right now.
See Bob Dixon stopping there, waiting for the green sign. Not his first day.
And so Gary Heiser pitted, took 4 tires. If you're in the back, there's no reason why you shouldn't. Grant Garland Oaks just took fuel.
And that was a great camera angle. I always mentioned that little stop sign guy, and sometimes people forget about him.
So it looks like Terry Bond got probably an end of longest line penalty because he is on the bottom letting everybody go.
So we could run a replay here of Bob Dixon coming off the pit. You'll see the bottom of your screen, the NASCAR official flips his little stop sign around and tells everybody to wait. Because Bob's not allowed to leave the pits because he'd be crashing into that pace line. Once the pace line clears, the light turns green and he's allowed to go again. A lot of not a lot, but I have seen miscommunication on that. Guys wondering why they got a penalty for exiting, like running the stop sign. That's a penalty. You got to come back around and serve a black flag for that. If you drive through the red light. Some tracks have a flashing red light, or they have the little NASCAR official with the stop sign. It's just awareness and knowing, like, okay, I'm on pit road. You're out here with 31 total cars on the track, trucks, 31 total trucks on the track. Where am I on the pits here? Like, if that pace line's coming, that's a long line of cars that pace truck's pulling. You got to remember, you can't enter that until they pass completely. If you're in a race with 15 people, you're probably never going to have to deal with that. But in these full fields, it's definitely a thing you got to keep in mind.
We got about a pretty good amount of drivers, probably about 10 to 12 drivers that are pitting on the very last chance they can. Now that's just going to separate them. Gary Heiser's one of those. Greg Lovell, Billy Heiser, Garland Oaks, Tom Dixon. What they're doing is they're kind of hoping that they pit and they will be able to go a little bit further. So,
it's a good call because if you're at the back of the pack, like in the back quarter of these guys, say the bottom, probably 10, might as well come down and get gas. You won't necessarily need tires. But, get some fuel, and you get that, like you said, you get that extra half lap, full lap, lap and a half, 2 laps, depending on when everybody up front had gone in the first time. Now they've got a fuel advantage. And
you also got to remember, too, that they can do about 20 to 21 laps. So, that's depending on if you're saving. We still got, about 63-ish laps to go. You got to think about, well, if it goes green from here, can we eliminate one pit stop by, stopping late?
It looks like Pat McCarthy, I'm just going to replay here. He retired with a blown engine.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's too bad. Pat McCarthy with a gearbox problem has retired from the race. Our first truck to retire. And he was up there in the middle of the pack, too. That's unfortunate for Pat.
And Gary Heiser, who was the leader when they all got to the start-finish line in the caution, he's our last place truck still running. He won't be there very long, but you know what I mean? He's part of the people back there. Probably about the last 8 to 10 drivers can go a little bit further on fuel, like we talked about.
And one thing about fuel, most of these trucks have a full tank right now.
Yep.
My work truck doesn't. The guy who drove my work truck today, Jack, he didn't fuel it. He texted me and said he forgot his wallet at home. So now I get to go into work on Monday, and he probably left me on negative 4% tank.
Wonderful.
I tell you, I'm going straight to upper management about that Jack kid. Ken Roberts leads the field down the back straightaway. Spectator camera, show you the gains.
And they're still tightening up that rubber band. That's going to be a few minutes before they're up to full speed.
I'm thinking Prepster Hipster in the YouTube chat's probably Jack. So
Oh,
thanks for watching, buddy. Yeah, he goes, gosh dang, your voices are so silky and soothing.
Oh, boy.
These guys want to go 3 wide up front, 3 wide in the middle. What's going on in the back? Like, we're focused on Ken Roberts. He went from 1st to 4th in a lap. Oh, wow. This is pretty awesome, actually. These guys are wild. Keith Bynum on the bottom there, being pushed by Eric Lovell in that blue 80 Mopar. There's Greg Palma in the Tutu. Look at that top line flying, man.
You said
more trucks are better than one.
There's another. There is 4 Dodges. Forgot about Eric.
Oh yeah, if he's running Mopar, he should probably have that on a Dodge chassis, right? Like cool Silverado paint job on a Ford chassis. I'm that guy though. I would have a Toyota sponsorship on my Chevy Silverado. I don't care.
Yeah, because they didn't have Toyota back in the day, but they used to. They usually put them on one of the other chassis. So when you don't have the paint scheme, sometimes you're wondering what they're driving.
Oh, there'll be Nissan Titans out here, I'm sure.
Oh, people will make them. I know for the original Cup setup, that's the mind you, that's the one that came out in 2003. BMW, there's Cadillac, there's so many different. There's Acura, Honda.
The longer the mod's been around, the more templates you're going to have for it.
See that you were talking before. Everybody they're running the bottom. Now they're running the high side.
Yeah, I know Grant being from Rolling Thunder, he's a big fan of that center line, so he's going to stay right in the middle. And everybody's going to follow him because looks who's behind him. Graham McDonald, Ken Roberts, Greg Palmer. The 44 back there, Brian Level, Dan Level behind him, Eric Level behind them. That's big stone gap right there, the whole family.
Yep. And like I said, some people will run around here on the bottom, and some people will run around in the middle. And then before we saw that outside groove struggle, they were getting there, but they weren't getting there, real quick like. And you don't see the inside groove, getting there much quicker until we just saw, was it Brian Level drop down to the bottom? He saw a little bit of energy coming from the bottom. He went down to the bottom to see if he could get that energy going, and it didn't work out, so he jumped back up to the high side. But they're being good for now. You wait 5 laps to go, it starts to change. Yeah.
Currently right now, fastest truck on the track, driven by number 88, Grant Wesley, with a 199.627 mile per hour average with a 47.9 seconds. That's from start line all the way around to start line with an average. So that's a wild. What was the average we had last week? Did we have 202 almost?
Yeah, but mind you, that's the Cup cars too. Granted, truck physics, but they do that. They are a little different setup too.
Right.
Similar, but very, a little bit different.
Yeah, they will take the physics package and they will apply it to the cars, but then you do, the setup's different a little bit just because the model is a different shape and size on the track. It takes up a little bit different space.
Well, you take out the CTS, the very original CTS, which is I think 2003 CTS. Then you had 09. There's this one, which is CSW, something like that. 15.
Camping World Series, yeah, CWS.
You could take the same thing. You go to the different ones, and they drive just a little bit different.
Yeah, it's weird how that works.
Yep. The other thing that gets them too is the box. That doesn't make any sense to people. Well, basically every one of these has the same box, but when you design one and you make it maybe a little smaller, that box is still out there. So sometimes some of the mods that are out there, you actually hit somebody before looks like you hit them, and that's just because the box catches them. Whoops, we got one on the back. So that heavy underground is around. I don't know if the caution came out yet.
Oh yeah, okay. Yellow is up.
Yep, it did.
These guys will race. They will not race back to the line until we are within 10 to the finish. The yellow flag will come out. They'll just kind of ease off the throttle a little bit.
Drive back around. Where they are.
Yeah. So we're going to focus on Javier Negron on the 40 and see if we can find out what happened there. Because that camera angle I was on did not really show us anything because it was one of those fixed wall cameras. Entering turn 2 here. It's a little crowded up there. I have to go to, again, just a tap, send them around. I'll need new tires.
Just a bump draft gone wrong usually, especially when you come off the corner there sometimes.
Yeah. It looks like he's on the high line. He's coming. Actually, could you grab Javier and bring him down in here and talk to him about his, plus he won last week too. Oh yeah, he tried to make a move to go inside there.
Okay,
and I think he lost sight.
We have Javier on and here with us in the booth. On talking to him first truck, but yeah.
Javier, you got us live on the air here, Tarnation TV. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Blaine. Hey, guys. What's going on?
Yeah, man. We were just getting ready to talk to you here, and what better time than under yellow? We're gonna say the 28 truck was beside you. Did you just lose sight of him?
No, because there was a lot of checkup, so I tried to go to the middle to avoid it, and the bottom car came up and had no, it wasn't just checkup. I was just trying to go middle and get out of that checkup. And
yeah, because we could see
came up.
That top line. You were all of a sudden just like, holy moly, and kind of had nowhere to go really. But yeah, luckily, it was just was there any damage to the truck? It did look like it probably just tires, eh?
Yeah, just tires, no damage. So that's a good thing. But yeah, there's a lot of checkup going on the top lanes. So. Nobody want to make a move right now, so we're just checking up a lot. So I was trying to make a move in the middle, but I think it was around the turn, and then that car came up. So
yeah, a little bit more space would have been nice. But yeah, we can see that like right now, it's not too racy out there. Everybody's just sort of biding their time, trying to slide into the pits, without causing any problems. But so far so good. There's been a couple of yellows, but there hasn't been any catastrophic damage to anybody. So is there any plans going forward in this thing? Because this is a pretty long race. You guys aren't used to really running 85 laps around this thing. It's usually about 47 or 66.
Yeah, right now there's no plan. Basically, 55 laps to go. So we're just gonna, put as much fuel as we can, stay in the back, and then hopefully move towards the front. That's our plan usually every race. It just may get a lot of fuel and stay in the back, try to avoid wrecks, and hopefully get in front by, less than 15 laps, try to get to the front.
Yeah, man, sounds like a good plan to try to keep it clean and hopefully you're in the right spot, the right time when the whole thing starts to wrap up. Did you have anything to ask him there, Rod, before we let him go?
I was just congratulate him on being the Friday night champion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Rod. I appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't know that it was you, but yeah, thanks a lot. It was a lot of fun.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got it plastered on the screen right now at the Javier Negron Primetime Racing League Friday Night Truck Series champion. I made sure to get that on there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun and a great race.
Now, was that the race that got you into the All-Star race, or had you won a race before that?
No, I had won one already.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, there it is. Let's see. He's going to get right side tires. We're totally spying on you right now.
Right.
And then...
Not telling anybody your secrets, or just...
No. Oh, he got full service, everybody.
Well, like you said, he's going to start at the back. He's going to be at the back. He might as well just get 4 tires, start back there.
Yeah, that's what I figured too. It's like a lot of laps left, so to get 4 fresh ones in a full tank.
Now, when we see in your sun drop truck, you're in a Coke truck tonight. Is that just a one-off?
Yeah, that's a one-off because Graham had made one, I think, for the last race, a Christmas one. So I figured, let me make one. I made one for Ulysses, which he's running. I had made one for Garden, but he didn't know about it, so he didn't have time to put it in there. But yeah, I had made 3 for the Wrecking Ball season.
Very cool.
Yeah, just one off.
All right.
That's
Well,
cool.
good luck for the rest of the race, bud. We'll be rooting there for you. And congrats again on your championship. Give him hell in it.
All right, I will. Thanks a lot, man. Nice talking.
Thanks, Javier. Good luck.
All right.
Tarnation TV would like to thank Mr. Negron for his time.
Yeah.
This past segment was sponsored in part by Coca-Cola. Grab a Coke.
And a smile.
And a smile. There you go.
It's the old slogan, have a
It
Coke and a
is.
smile.
Yeah. Our lights off.
I am a devout Coke fan. I do not care much for Pepsi products.
No.
Other than I like their only thing I like is their Mountain Dew Live Wire, and that's it.
Who makes Dr. Pepper?
Coke.
Nice. Yeah, when it comes to... there's a Dodge move out the front there. See that? Who was that? Was that Hewlick? In that purple car?
Is he a Dodge?
No, I'm not Dodge. I mean, like the way he dodged the cone right there.
Yeah.
I was trying to see. I think it was Hewlick because he drives that purple car. Yeah, it was. It looked like he was trying to fake people out. When I say that Dodge move, it's actually a Toyota.
Yeah.
But he dodged the cone. He's like, hey, everybody's going to come. Trying to
you
pull
had
a
about,
fast one there.
10 to 12 drivers again that just went in, topped off with fuel. Even Harry Negron, we just talked with him. He pitted again. These guys are just basically trying to get themselves out on a different pit cycle. Close. Let's see.
There's Bobby Farrell after he got bounced around that first yellow flag. He's running 13th right now, so clearly the pit crew got that thing back into working order.
I'm trying to think. We're going to be probably about, oh gosh, I'm not good at my math. About 50, is it 55 laps? Yeah, probably about 55 laps. So it'd be interesting to see how they decide to do the pit stops, whether or not they decide to run it out on fuel or maybe short pit, get a bunch of guys together and short pit. If you get the right guys and the right amount of guys when you short pit like that, you're out there running by yourselves, but you might be able to do quicker lap times because you're not out there running side by side. You're running nose to tail and just making up time.
Yeah, and I wonder too, with 30, 33, I mean, are tires an issue now? I mean, you might need to change right sides.
You could probably, realistically, I would say you could probably go the whole race without even changing tires, but I'd imagine you'd probably want to at least do it once. Being 85 laps, you might have to at least do it once. Some guys, when it comes to these super speedways, they don't change tires very often, just so they don't have the issues of having maybe a gun jam or anything like that. But you get better track position sometimes too,
And that is the
not
thing.
taking a full tank.
People will be like, oh man, game's in 2003. What do you mean get gun jam? Like, no, like when you're on pit road, sometimes there's issues with the pit crew's equipment and they can't change your stuff. They're like, oh man, one of the guns jammed. We're going to have to take some extra time on your tires.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? So now a 12-second pit stop just turned into a 14-second pit stop, and now you've just lost 3 spots.
The game has random breakdowns, so unfortunately, no matter what you do, you could drop a valve, you could blow a clutch up, gear, whatever, and take yourself out of the race. But they also have occasional, just luck of the draw. Sometimes your pit stops are a little bit longer just because a gun jammed or whatever. They've got that stuff kind of played into it.
Black flag being shown to the 388 at Dan level, but I'm assuming that's probably a passing low flag that will be cleared.
That's the problem with the problem of trying to do the double file restarts.
Yeah.
If your line gets a little better start and you're on the bottom line and you actually pass the guy that's in front of you in position wise, but you're on the outside of you, you can concur a black flag, and they just clear them because that's
Yeah, flag has been cleared. They're not going to ask him to go pit for that
Yep.
one. Robert Breedlove was leading this thing. And now they're already fanning out the 3 wide again, so this might actually help Breedlove catch back up because he's got a pretty good set of trailers behind him.
Yeah.
I wonder if Grant will move off that with only 3 trucks in that middle line. You think Grant, Palmer, and Roberts will change their attack here?
They went up behind Ken Roberts to try to use him. It just depends on where, what happens once they get there. Dan Level's on the bottom, just dropped down to the bottom in front of Brian Wolf, Denny Carroll, Bobby Farrell, and I think that one.
That keeps changing. That middle line keeps changing. The guys in the back there, Brian Wolf and
Nate Balzer.
and
I
Level.
was trying to figure out who the other guy was. It was Nate Balzer.
Yeah.
There's a few trucks. Nate Balzer's, Ken Roberts, and yep. Trying to think of the other one there. Greg Palmer's, just from the front. They all look about the same when you're kind of looking at them from the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, they got the similar black and orange.
Yep.
There's only one bright green truck out there. That's definitely Ulysses Sandoval, and one bright yellow. Oh, no. Billy Elliser and Wesley have similar paint.
Yeah.
Wesley is leading this.
Ulysses is our Saturday night champion. Won his first championship last Saturday, live on Tarnation TV.
Yep, currently in 20th right there.
That was great to see. Hell of a nice guy. And not really was. Did he say, I can remember, I think it was like, well, I've been doing this for about 3 years.
Yeah. What was that move back there? Who is that?
Denny Carroll went to the way down to the bottom, like just to try to get out of the mayhem,
Garland
I think.
Oaks. I just saw Garland Oaks like threading some needles back here. I'm gonna ride in the cockpit with him.
I think you see some of these guys kind of backed off because I think it was getting a little bit hectic.
Wow. Yeah, Garland had the momentum and he made that work. That's crazy. that was pretty awesome. Garland Oaks part of Team Wrecking Ball. How many different teams we got? We got Team Wrecking Ball. We got Big Stone Gap.
Yeah.
And then there's sorry.
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking back in Talladega Nights time. I don't know what they have.
Well, there's
now with
teams
Primetime
too,
Racing.
but some guys don't like have a name for their team.
Yeah.
Big Stone Gap Racing and then Team Wrecking Ball do, and then there's other guys that are clearly teammates but don't really call themselves anything.
They're guys that enjoy racing each other. They race well together. You take like Greg Palmer, Ken Roberts. What was the other? RJ Cabana. I'm trying to think of who the other guy was. There's 4 of them that always race well together, and they kind of you'll kind of see them just work together and try to get together.
There's Rodney Sullins there, running right there at about 20th spot, right up behind Nate Balser and Randy Waugh, trying to get that bottom line working.
It's a nice looking truck that he painted there.
Yeah, he's painted a few out here. Rodney's legendary paint scheme designer. That's actually a very simple one.
It is, but it's nice looking.
You usually don't see any solid colors. Like to have solid black hood. I'm like, oh, wow. You know what? It's probably not a solid black hood. 1 second. No, it is. Usually there's a texture behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes there's a texture behind it. Like he designed Robert's truck, the number 55 up front there.
And they're running 3 wide by 3 wide by 3 wide. You got Dan Lobo on the high side trying to make something happen. He's got Doug Hillock, John Godfrey, Mike Mangialardi, Billy Iser, and looks like U-Man.
Was Billy Elliser the one that stole your paint job? Oh, John Godfrey hard into the wall. Somehow he held onto it. I just flipped over to Billy Elliser to take a look at that mellow yellow paint job and saw Godfrey just get crushed.
I don't know if that was a bump gone wrong or...
We'll find out. That was wild. That looked like a really hard hit. So he's 3 wide. Everybody's in their lane. Oh, it's a checkup high side maybe. Yeah, it was a little bit of a door slap. But he held on to that thing, man. I don't know. That was crazy. I thought for sure that was going to be a lot worse. And he remains on the track. He did not pit. And he's still maintaining right here with the push and a little bit of draft, 198 mile per hour, 199 going into the corner. He's got Billy Ellisar and the number 3 of Gary Heiser pushing.
Would the guys in front of him running side by side? That'll make it a little easier for them to catch up.
Yeah.
Grant Wesley, he's led 15 laps so far. The next guy that's led up anywhere near that was Perry Bond with 12. Perry's back in he's around the middle of the pack on the bottom side. Just puttering around, riding around, waiting for things to just kind of work its way towards the end. And then I think you'll see a lot of these guys they'll start making a lot more aggressive moves.
Yeah, there's Mike Mangialardi in the 29. You'll see 2 29 trucks out here tonight. One of them is Mike Mangialardi. The other one's Brian Wolf. Brian Wolf is actually 295.
Oh, Perry Bond just got tapped by, I want to say Mark Paglia kind of got him in the middle of the corner. Spun Perry Bond around.
Check that out.
Almost looked that way. Like I said, it would just, what happened kind of live.
Yeah, he was having a good little run there, too.
Yep.
We'll go to helicopter view off the bat to see how they get tangled up here. Oh, big check up in the front, not just an accordion. Yeah, that happened about 6 cars in front of him.
The danger of the accordion. Oh, yeah. Danger of the accordion effect when it gets back there, and unfortunately, Mark Paglia is right behind him. By the time they got back to where he was, he had no time to slow down.
Yeah, it looked like it almost happened, maybe even from like the 4th car there, like Robert Breedlove. It just sort of a little bit of a lift. It amplifies when it goes through that field, like it's like a wave. The guy who initially lifts, just a little one, guy behind him, little one, but then it just gets bigger and bigger as it ripples through the field, and that's what happens. So are we going to see anybody coming to pit road?
We're going to have about 40 laps. I think you'll see more guys pit, kind of like we've seen before.
Yeah, it might be a full field pit right here, maybe, you think? Grant Wesley in the front. We'll see what he does.
It really all depends. I mean, if you think you can pit from this point and make it all the way, because, that's something that's always in your mind. You've got to keep your strategy thinking like,
Whole field.
If it goes green from here, can I make it on one stop,
Right. Entire field will go. Maybe not the entire field. Some guys in the back might stay out to get that extra lap. One guy. Who is the one?
Gary Heiser. He is not.
Is it Gary? Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Number 3.
He's been doing that most of the night. Not pitting on the first one, just going to the back. And
ooh. Looks like Tiger may have. Uh-oh. Some guys are getting. Oh, okay. Billy Ellisar looks like he got hooked up a little bit. He just had to wait for his spot because the car behind his stall was coming out. Behind his star was coming out.
Yeah.
So let's go on Billy Ellisar here and actually run this back just to show you what pit road looks like in a game from 2003. Keep in mind, most NASCAR games I've played, they take control of your car when you go down the pits, or they turn collisions off. In this game, you are always in control, and you can always crash into other cars or trucks.
I think
so. This is
first time I ever experienced that in iRacing freaked me right out.
on pit road, everybody turns like it almost hollow, so you can't crash into other vehicles.
Yeah.
So I always thought like it's a weird way it's not an option to turn that on. Maybe it is now, but see here he's going to have to check up because the car he needs to pass is coming out. So you can see they just dropped this. He tucks in behind Lovell, and it's like, oops, I got to go one more spot. But then the Jackman drops Lovell, so then he has to wait for Lovell to leave and then get into his pit. So good call by Billy.
Yeah.
And he hit the spot perfect, but he's just going to lose a couple of spots. But that could have been way worse. He could have. He could have gotten into the 44, Brian Lovell, and that would have been bad. I don't think
it's going to really do. It's just going to put him in the back of the pack. But you know that doesn't mean he can't. He doesn't have a chance.
No, and it's and it saves damage on your car, truck.
Yeah.
It saves damage to the 44. It's just a smart move, a heads-up play where he kind of committed a little bit too early and then realized, once he saw the 44, the Jackman put that thing back on the ground. It's like, oh, I better wait because he's going to go now.
Now, see, Gary Heiser has not pitted yet. He is going to wait till the very end. I think you'll see him this very last. We're still under caution. We haven't got the lights off of the pace truck yet. So he'll probably jet down this time by. Whether he'll take tires or not, that's probably up to him. He's not going to lose as much unless there's a bunch of guys that come down and top off.
Yeah, we'll be watching. So what Rod was saying about the lights on the pace truck and the lights on the wall, you can see those yellow lights flashing on the wall. Once those go off, the green flag will come out the next time around. We currently do not have anybody a lap down. So with a driver being one lap down, they will add one lap because those cars and trucks or whatever you're driving, they are not allowed to pit the first time around. So they make sure that they give them an extra lap to do their strategy as well. So I'm thinking lights are going off this time, so Gary's probably going to hit the pits.
Yep. But I wouldn't be surprised. But no, they might be able to make it on one pit stop. But I wouldn't be surprised that you might see probably half the field, maybe even more than that, just drop down and just top off. Mm-hmm. Gary, they're all going to beat Gary out of the pits because if he's still, he was getting close to where he was going to have to pit. I mean, they had a few more laps, but he's got to add probably a tank and a half, where they're just going to go in and get a splash, so they'll be in and out real quick.
Yeah, there goes Gary now. He ducks below the line. In the YouTube chat there, As O'Keefe says, thanks for putting on the stream! ! I love watching my dad in that 931 truck. See, at least he knows it's a truck. He or she knows it's a truck. Check out that car. Truck.
Team Wrecking Ball all pitted. With, all of the drivers from Team Wrecking Ball pitted.
So this 931 truck of Robert Breedlove. He's got family watching. Thank you for watching. It's our pleasure to put on this stream. We have a lot of fun doing it. So that's cool when people interact with the YouTube channel. And don't forget, subscriptions are free for the next 931 seconds.
So it's kind of neat. Like I said, Gary Heiser went down and took 4 tires. Right. And all that fuel. And he's going to be the last truck off pit road because everybody that just went in topped off, they're going to come out ahead of him. That doesn't mean he's in the back of the pack, but he's still in this race.
Yeah, 100% with no damage either, right? Like he hasn't been caught in any wrecks. Yep. He's just kind of running the maximum amount of laps that he can. It puts him out of the cycle if he chooses to. Because I'm thinking he can probably, what are we going to do? 57, 67. He's still going to have to pit
one more time.
At least one more time. For real.
And now the next question is like you got Grant Wesley up starting on the front row. Is get Greg Palmer. Now, if those guys just say, hypothetically, they decide they're going to run side by side the rest of the race, they don't. Guys up front don't have to lift. So, the chances if you're the lead truck, pulling the pack along, you're not lifting, you're probably only going to get about 19 laps. If you're Gary Heiser, who's way in the back, he's going to be lifting a little bit more. He's going to be able to save a little bit more.
Yeah. That's the thing, yeah, because he's riding in that tunnel of air back there, right? All these guys are breaking that wind, so it's like you've got no, and we're running on a clear night with zero wind anyway, so there's no wind resistance except for the air itself. But yeah, the drafting is a big deal. The more vehicles you have in front of you,
well, it's a perfect example. We saw
especially in a long run.
With Perry Bond got spun there. It was an accordion effect. Well, that's where those guys, are going to save a little bit more fuel when they start doing that, having to lift because the guys in front of them aren't. We're back green with Grant Wesley, as we set out in the lead. Looks like Greg Palmer on the outside.
That 931 truck of Robert Breedlove's got some fans in the YouTube chat. Let's go get it, 931. Greg ain't got crap on you. Got trash talking going on in the YouTube chat. Love it. Grant Wesley, position number 1. Denny Carroll actually took over the fastest lap.
Oh, nice.
200.4 mile per hour with a 47.7 lap average.
Now you remember
47.7 second lap average.
There was a few of them back there a while back that kind of shuffled back and out of the way a little bit, and we saw some stuff kind of getting a little hairy, and they backed off, and then granted, they started lining up in the back there to try to get caught back up. Denny Carroll was one of those, so that's one way to get a faster lap is by having to, if you lag back and then try to catch back up to the field, you really can get a fast lap that way because they're clearing the air and you're just all out and not lifting at all.
It does add up, especially on a green flag run. You get these long green runs, like all these little things do amplify. Like, oh, it doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm like, yeah, it does, especially on 2X because you're getting a longer run. It comes into play.
And Grant Wesley got out in the front there, and then he pulled right up on the high side in front of Greg Palmer.
Sticking with Palmer, Wah.
Got Wah and all that.
Yep, on that high line. And that
Ken
bottom
Roberts
line
down at the bottom.
Roberts with Keith Bynum, Brian Wolf, and the 889 of RJ Cabana. I haven't really focused on RJ tonight. There's Eric Lovell as well. RJ Cabana is another name, man. Like, he's always out here.
They've settled down there. Well, I'm just going to say they've settled down from their 3-wide racing into 2-wide. They go into turn 3 wide with Grant McDonald high side.
Yep. Leave it up to the 24 to put a wrench in that sentence.
Yeah. It's funny, just when you think, oh, all right, well, they've calmed down. They're just gonna take it easy for a little bit, They're gonna run 2x2, just let some laps wind off. Whoop, nope, they're 3-wide.
Yep. Especially early in the run, if you're gonna go 3-wide early in the runs, it's time to do it because you don't really need to be down there to try to get to the pits.
Yep.
But some guys just love running that line.
I mean,
it's a bad spot to be during a wreck because everybody's gonna wash to the wall. But
it's exactly what I was gonna say. Is to me, I'd rather be out there third groove if I was going to be anywhere. It's just the truck drives better out there. It doesn't get as tight off the exit of the corners.
Yeah.
But there again, as soon as something happens, the first part of all these wrecks, pretty much the G-forces sends everything to the wall, of course, to the bottom of the track. So you usually get caught up and stuff out there when you're stuck on that third groove.
Yeah. Currently focused there on the 79 Nate Balser running the ASPCA truck. Fellow animal lover. I mean, who isn't really?
Whoa!
Oh, a little bit sideways. Oh, no.
Randy Waugh up. Oh, my God. And he kept it going straight.
Nate on the brakes, couldn't stop it. Just got a hold of, oh, wow, big damage done to the 43.
Wow, he come off the inside to the outside and took out, hit a few trucks.
And
Balls are involved. Brian Rosen.
Yeah, what happened? So Palmer got, it's just a little bit of a wiggle there. Randy Waugh got sent around. Man,
He
the
got
79
airborne.
hooked back. Holy moly. Yeah, Bob
He
Dixon, we
was.
could say Bob Dixon never saw that coming. Holy.
Yeah, you got to watch Randy Waugh on that because he went airborne and landed and then just turned straight and kept going.
I've never seen damage like that. Look at what happened when he hit Bob. Look what happened to Bob's truck. The truck actually got crushed. Oh, now that's weird. Depending on my camera angle, that damage actually disappears.
Oh yeah, that's something that always is done. But yeah, his back of Bob's truck's pretty banged up.
Yeah, on a certain camera angle, it doesn't actually show up. That's weird. Actually,
There are some mods out there that when you get close to people, there's bars that'll appear.
Yeah.
But they're weird mods. They're not, not like the regular trucks and whatever. They're, a little bit different ones. But you catch up to a guy behind you, and all of a sudden the roll cage will appear in his car.
Yeah. It looked like the middle of the bed was messed up there, but. So
And we know everybody's going to pit this time, just because now they know they can do it on one stop.
Yeah.
Everybody will pit. We may still see Gary Heiser stay out and come in a couple laps later. Like you said, that guarantees him the chance that he doesn't have to pit with everybody.
And depending on yellow flag situations, he might not even need to pit ever again.
Well, that's true. I mean, he'll have to pit.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, big crash on pit road.
Pit road.
I saw Keith Bynum barrel rolling.
Yeah. Keith Bynum has retired.
He's called it. I think he's
Or did he
called
call
it tow
it
truck.
tow truck? Yeah, he probably called tow truck.
He was barrel rolling.
Okay, we're gonna load that up. I've never seen a barrel roll on pit road before. I mean, I probably have.
Kind of looked, just from what I saw, almost like Cam McDonald was coming out of his stall when Keith Bynum was maybe going in. Almost, I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a slow motion roll. Well, look at that. Just barely. Keith comes out. Nate checks up. Going slow motion here. Just tapped to 63, turns him sideways.
Right in front of Graham.
League administrators, and it's just that perfect storm of your wheels just hook that asphalt and that thing just starts rolling. That is comical, to say the least. Hopefully Keith's truck's all right. Oh, no, it's not. He has retired due to an accident. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how the most catastrophic wreck we've seen all night happened at like 40 miles an hour?
So Billy Heiser stayed out that time, and
Gary?
It looks like Gary's gonna stay out.
Okay.
Make it on one stop. The biggest thing is as long as he's not gonna be hitting too many laps out there by himself. So what I mean by that is if he has to pit, let's say 2 laps earlier than everybody else.
Okay.
And for those 2 laps, he's by himself. That will hurt him. Unless he can get somebody to pit with them and, come in and out, get in there, get out. He'll probably take no tires. He might be all right.
Yeah, it's good. It's possible. Anything can happen. We've got the entire Balser family in the YouTube chat right now, sending confused and surprised emojis. What the hell, Nate?
It always cracks me up, too.
The little bump. That's all it was. A little tiny bump. It turned everything into a nightmare.
It always cracks me up, though, when you look on that, the chat, and you've got one of the drivers that's out there leading the race typing on it.
Yeah. See, so Angela Madison, that's Nate's wife and daughter. But then you'll have Ulysses Sandoval typing with the Ulysses Sandoval account. I'm like, you're texting and driving, buddy. That's distracted driving. That's a ticket.
I saw Grant Wesley's name in there.
Yep. If you are going to text and drive drivers, we caution that, distracted driving can cause accidents, so please do it under caution.
Yeah. Although there's a few trucks out there that got a little bit of damage. It looks like kind of Bobby Farrell's truck's got a little damage to the back. You said Bob Dixon, he's got a little damage. You think that's just kind of glancing through this field there. It's got a little damage in the back, not a lot. May not slow him down where that damage is too. So, and it sometimes can always be a help too.
Yeah, we've seen some weird stuff. Yeah, because the aerodynamics, of course, you want to keep the front of your vehicle.
Yep.
In good, shape. But yeah, I mean, for Bob to get tagged in that left rear wheel, that, I mean, it was a hard impact, and it does look like the spoilers kind of folded on that thing. But like you said, it could affect the downforce. It could affect the push. It could affect the front draft. I mean, we don't really know. Because air's coming over the front of that truck and then off that back wing. So there's a bunch of different things that come into play there, depending where the...
And of course, Gary Heiser is not listening to us because he ended up taking 4 tires.
Yep.
But I guarantee you, if he has to do a green flag pit stop, as long as he doesn't smoke the tires come in for that stop, he probably won't take any tires at all.
No.
Literally, too, depends on how much fuel you got to take in, too. Because if you need a tank and a half, you can take 2 tires and it won't slow you down.
No, exactly. Currently leading the pack. Lights are off on the pace truck. Ken Roberts, front row inside. Leader does get lane choice. We'll see if he decides to switch. We don't see too much switching. Guys usually stick where they are, but sometimes it happens. It depends on the league, too. Some leagues don't allow for the lane choice. These guys do in the regular series, but then each series is different, so this all-star race may not have a similar rule book. I'm assuming they wouldn't change it too much. So most laps led so far. Grant Wesley with 22. 2 trucks have retired. Pat McCarskey and Keith Bynum, fastest truck on the track. Denny Carroll with 200.4 mile per hour. We have had 4 yellow flags for a total of 17 laps. Hey, do you want to crank it up? We haven't cranked it up in a while.
There you go. Why not?
Let's do it, everybody. We're going to stop talking for a couple laps. Crank up your stereo systems because this is a real sound pack from actual V8 cars. Yes, I said cars, but that's where it's from. Anyway, enjoy the crank it up. Crank those volume knobs. now. If it was still cranked up, sorry, I said hey now, and it was really loud. Yeah, I forget I have that button. I made that button. I totally stole it from Fox Sports. Don't know if they still do it, but they probably do. Mike Mangialardi and the 29 right there. Like I said, one of the two 29 trucks. There's the other one. Whoa, that's the pace truck. Now I'm way behind.
And I noticed that Ken Roberts got up there in front of Grant Wesley and Greg Palmer and Rodney Sullins, and they've moved to the high side, or middle line, not all the way high, middle line, and they've kind of just kept everybody at bay right there.
Bob Dixon has retired.
Oh, did he?
Yes, one lap ago.
He probably just couldn't keep up.
Yeah,
that wasn't going to do it. Like, see, Bobby Farrell struggling. He's still got the lead draft, but he's struggling pretty hard to try to hang with him.
I was focused on Brian Wolf there because he was the only truck on that lower line looking up the inside of that front pack, and now he's got a couple guys in front of him with RJ Cabana there and Dan Lovell in a 388. They're trying to maybe get something going, but there's nobody else really biting on that right now. Mangialardi and Godfrey are staying behind. Godfrey's still keeping good speed, too, because we saw him earlier in the race take a big wallop of the right side of that truck. It hasn't really affected his speed much.
Yeah, we saw Randy Watt airborne, and he's still sitting right there right now, currently behind Billy Heiser, but he's just, he's still going decent. He doesn't look like he hurt the truck. It didn't hit anything. It just kind of went airborne and landed on the ground, and he just kept it headed straight and going. Yeah. Of course, right now, John Godfrey's looking at the low side. Well, he's still kind of running the middle. Thought for a moment he was going to try to get down on that bottom side.
The truck that had just retired, Brian Rawson in the 6.
He was involved in that last crash, and he ended up hitting the inside retaining wall pretty hard.
Yeah, his truck's cool, too. He's got that Valvoline, classic Valvoline paint job. I love that paint job.
Yep. Kind of calmed down a little bit. Like I said, they are still a little bit too wide, but they got a good straight line, not straight. I say that wrong. They got about 8 cars right in the front, just staying in line on that upper groove, and that bottom groove just can't seem to get the momentum going.
Yellow is up. So we'll see what's going on here.
Didn't see anything happen unless it happened in the back or somebody may have blown a motor.
Trying to
threw a piece of roll bar up.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, it could have been a debris cross, and we had a couple of trucks out there that were beat up. They might have dropped something on the track.
Yeah. It does happen. Sometimes they'll throw a caution. Just because. Could be debris. Could be the league admin saw that the ice cream truck roll into the infield and had butterscotch on sale for $1 a cone. I would totally throw a yellow for that.
I wouldn't stop for ice cream. Not a big ice cream fan. I eat it once in a while, but I'm not a big fan.
How dare you?
Sorry. It's like I grew up in the apple business. I don't like apple pie.
This yellow flag, sponsored in part by Lowe's, the 48 truck, Alex Moe. Or Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, he's not getting it done right now at the moment, but he loves, he's still right up there, mid-pack. Get mixed in with the right people and get pushed up there.
Yeah. Graham McDonald, John Godfrey, Garland Oaks, Greg Lovell, Looks like he's coming down as well to the pit road.
And 4 drivers stay out.
Mike Mangialardi, Dan Lovell, Brian Wolf, RJ Cabana, Javier Negron, Doug Hulick, Perry Bond, Roddy Sullins, Greg Palmer, Grant Wesley, Ken Roberts. Yeah, Graham McDonald stayed out. Robert Breedlove stayed out.
Eric Lovell
and Gary Heiser.
Gary Heiser's been doing that pretty much every caution. I think we're going to be about pretty close to 20 laps to go when we go back to green. Pretty close. I mean, it's going to be real close.
Yeah.
So I think you'll probably see just about everybody. Anybody that wanted to change tires and whatnot would have pitted on the first one, taken the 2, taken 4, taken what they were going to do. And then the next time coming down through there, you'll see them probably just top off on fuel just so they can maybe make it. Because like I said, right now we're showing about 22 laps to go. We've gone around once.
Nate Balser has retired for a wheel problem.
The only one that hasn't pitted looks like Robert Breedlove. It's the only one that's going to stay out.
When they say wheel problem, is that, I would assume that's like a tire, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So why not just change the tire?
Well, depends too. When you hit something hard enough, sometimes the wheel goes into the firewall, and it doesn't matter how many times you change it, the whole suspension is going that way anyway. So.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, because he hit that wall pretty hard.
Yes, he did.
So it caused permanent damage. He was forced to retire. RJ Cabana driving that Rodney Sullins designed National Guard 889, cool looking rig.
Now the question is,
like most Rodney stuff, probably got a custom driver suit.
Oh yeah,
yep,
he's really good at attention to detail.
Oh my God, he's got no legs.
I did that again.
Every time. Ulysses Sandoval. Mike Mangialardi. You might have just seen that truck go by on the outside. That would be a lucky dog situation, I believe, probably for Eric. Yep. Eric in the 80 gets to go to the outside of the front row. For those of you who aren't familiar with NASCAR stuff or NAS truck stuff, Eric is 1 lap down. And they will do what they call a lucky dog. He's the first truck, 1 lap down. He is the lucky dog, which means he gets to drive all the way around to get his lap back. So right now he's going to pass the leaders. Once they hit the stripe.
He'll pass the pace truck when the lights go out.
Yeah.
Come around the back. Now,
and it looks like Breedlove is headed to the...
Yeah. Then he's got Mangialardi. Looks like Dan Lovell, Greg Lovell. Dan Lovell, Randy Waugh, Gary Heiser, Eric Lovell. Oh, that's not Eric Lovell.
Eric Lovell, we're going to watch him go now. He will pass the pace car.
Pace truck.
Pace truck and be back on the lead lap. Lights are off, which means we will go green. We will go green one more time in about 2 miles. Those of you who are watching this, thank you very much. We got a bunch of hits, or over 100 hits on this broadcast this evening. Unfortunately, we've had about 5 yellow flags, which isn't too bad. It's an 85-lap race. A lot of people showed up for this.
Going to go back green with about 18 laps. Fuel shouldn't be a problem.
Shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
And we can tell you, There's a lot of these guys out here clutching.
Yep.
You
You want to
can hear
save
that.
as much as you can. I mean, if it goes green all the way and you don't conserve, you'd hate to come down to the last lap, going on the backstretch and run out of gas because you didn't save.
Yeah, you can see that right now. We're locked on to Grant Wesley in a very close proximity camera angle. You can hear his engine on and off.
Notice that the truck will squat. It
See
looks
how-
like
yeah.
it looks like they hit the air ride button and dropped it down a little bit, and then it comes back up. That's just I don't know why NASCAR with the 2003 season, why they put that in there and to do it that way, but that's how you can tell.
Yep, and we're close enough here you can actually hear him cutting it. So what he's doing is he's gassing it, and then he's taking his foot off the gas. He's putting that clutch in to let the thing just roll without using as much fuel. And it does add up. Over the span of a lap in, lap out, he could save himself half a lap, which he might need at the end.
Javier Negron is back there in fourth place on this restart, but the four trucks around him, being Wesley, Rodney Sillins, Ken Walters, and Greg Palmer, you might see that they'll kind of work together and they get in line on that high side. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see maybe Rodney doesn't get the start, and then Ken Walters and Grant Wesley get a pretty good start and get up there on that upper groove, because that's where they've been most comfortable as of late.
So you're thinking they might leave Javier behind?
Well, I think what you're going to see right here is, they just moved up.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
Roberts and Wesley, exactly.
They've been doing that all night, and we saw this happen in the last a year or so ago when we did the IPS Excellence series. They were out. One of the guys, I think it might have been Haglia, that was in, and then them guys would just work on getting him up front and running the high side to just protect it and push him out towards the front.
It's funny how predictable it is sometimes, but you know what? If they love running that middle line, it's the fastest way around this track. It's not the shortest, but it is the fastest.
And granted, this isn't a race where one of the guys is on their team or one of their friends that they all work together with, is fighting for a championship and they're helping them out. They're all just helping out each other. Sometimes you'll see, I've seen this with Big Stone Gap Racing. Once, when it gets down to 5 to go, they won't abandon each other. They'll stay right there, and finish the way they do. But it's an all-star race. You want that bragging right saying that you're the all-star winner for the year. So it'll be interesting to see if they stay there or they start fighting for it.
That's why they have these all-star races in December, because they've been having the different series all year, and then they'll compile all those stats. And you get all the best drivers.
That's the good thing about kind of the way they do things over to PRL. I know in a lot of leagues, they'll start their season, probably either a week before, the week of, or the week after of the Cup Series, and pretty much follow it right to a T. So there's 36 race season. A lot of the PRL stuff they'll do 10 to 12 race seasons, and then the crown a champion, and then they'll move on to the next season. And it just breaks it up a little bit. Because you don't have drivers that get so far ahead that you just can't get caught.
That's the thing, with a full season, and if you got those dedicated guys, and that's great for them too. Like, if you want to show that dedication and hit every single race and just be present, you're gonna have a better chance of winning.
Yep.
But then, if you wanted to jump into a race here and there, you also feel like maybe you shouldn't, because you might be interrupting something. And leagues are always going to invite drivers in. Like, you could be 28 races into a 50 race season, and it's like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't join. I don't want to get in the way. They're always going to want more high, like they were going to want a higher driver count. So, I don't shy away from jumping into races every few weeks if you can't make it every week.
The other thing too, especially when you get a new driver, you want to have the opportunity to see what that driver's capable of. So you get them in there and you watch them and make sure that they're a good fit.
Yeah.
I've been with leagues that they've had people show up and have practice and race or whatever, and we've just kind of looked at the admin and said no. You can't have a driver like that in this. You're going to lose people.
Right. A lot of movement in the middle of the pack there. We're just kind of focused in the middle so I can see more of what's going on. Denny Carroll in that 41. Trying to get something moving on that right lane.
As I was about to say, it's funny at the beginning of the race, everybody was running the bottom. Now they're running the middle lane. And now, just as I was about to say that, Javier Negron and Wrecking Ball, they've got 3 of the drivers lined right up there. They're actually 3 Toyotas lined right up on the bottom. I don't think Hillock is part of Wrecking Ball, but they've started making their move at the bottom. We're getting 41. Down close to about 13 laps to go.
Yeah.
So, now you're going to see the intensity pick up a little bit. So, now you got Denny Carroll on the high side trying to make a move.
Yep.
You're having Aaron Ground on the bottom trying to make a move.
Ooh.
You got Grant Wesley just picking whatever lane's got the most momentum and trying to stay in front of it.
Yeah. And Wesley knows what he's doing. I mean, he abandoned those 3 or 4 guys in the middle because he saw 5 coming on the bottom.
Remember, all-star race. I don't think Grant Wesley and, Ken Roberts, like we always talk about Ken Roberts, Greg Palmer, Matt Pagula, they all kind of work together. And Grant, I don't think he's part of that group per se. He's just, if you're out there running through the race and Grant Wesley is one of these guys that's really good at super speedway racing, you're gonna stay and keep him up there. Let him waste the fuel. Let him pull you along so you get down near the end of the race.
And Grant's just a well-respected driver in every single thing that he races, right? Because he's pretty consistent across the board. So, I mean, you're going to want to team up with a guy like that. He's been leading the majority of this race. He's got 31 laps led tonight. Just showing people how it's done.
4 Toyotas there at the bottom. 3 of the modern template Toyotas, and then you've got Grant Wesley in the original style Toyota.
Yeah, and Carroll that 3rd line there was working pretty good. It's sort of stalled out right now. Ken Roberts is back in about, what's it showing him right now?
I think the biggest thing that they need up there is they keep getting drivers that come up, run with them, and then, this lane's not going, and then they back out. You can't do that. You've got to have Aaron Grand taking over the lead.
Yeah.
Made a wicked move.
Yes, he did.
Grant Wesley and all of the other 3 Toyotas went with him, as well as with Graham McDonald, and they just pulled right up there and headed.
They just walked on him. Wesley might be coming back though. If he's got Sullins, Farrell, Roberts behind him. Palmer's there too.
So you saw Ken Roberts and Rodney Sullins pull down behind Grant Wesley.
Yep.
They're just starting to kind of figure out where they need to be. We're getting down to about 10 laps to go. Now business is going to start picking up. You just got to start figuring out and working your way, do the best you can to get yourself back to the front, and then try to hold on to it. You don't want to make the move too soon, but then again, you don't want to make it too late either.
See, that was going to be my question. You think Javier and his buddies there maybe put the move on Grant too soon because it gives Grant time to, try to get it back.
They're committed to each other, though. Those 3 Toyotas are committed to each other because there was an opportunity when then Grant Wesley and that bottom line started coming through that I think even U-Man and Javier could have pulled down there and taken that momentum away from him or used that power, that momentum coming from the bottom, and they just stayed right in the high side. So now they're running 2x2. Still keep trying to get the people trying to get that 3rd groove going up there, but they're not getting enough trucks up there to do it.
No, this late in the race, I don't know. I mean, that will happen. We're within 10. I can see a 3rd lane breaking out. With those 2 guys lingering out there, if a couple of those guys, like even if Palmer and Carroll maybe popped out into that 3rd line, it could.
They have the momentum. If they see it coming, they see it coming, and they see an opportunity where they maybe, that line's got momentum coming. When they pull out, they're going to pull that line along, and it maybe possibly get them make their way to the front. You'll see drivers do that. Denny Carroll's already just pulled out there to do it.
that lane that's running in the center, we're locked down to Javier right now in that red truck. That lane has the option. Like anybody in that lane can pull to the right, and they did. You can see now, instant in a blink of an eye. Now we're 3 wide at the front.
Yeah. So as you were saying that, Denny Carroll was leading the lineup that high side. You man just pulled right up there in front of him.
Yep.
And now he's pulling that third line. They've kind of gotten together. They've got a good groove going. Good group of guys. They're running nice and tight.
See, in that bottom, the line running on that yellow line at the bottom of the track, they're kind of pinned down there. You know what I mean? Like you can't really make much of a lane change. That center line sees that top line coming. You can choose to abandon your line. And they're running get that
right on the
push.
bottom. Look at how they're running going down the backstretch. They're nice and tight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. You don't see them zigzagging, juking around. But you just see them. They're nice and tight together. We still got maybe close to 5 laps to go, 6 laps to go. But they're going to stay that way. You might, like I said, I don't know any agreements have been made or whatever. We do know how Greg Palmer and, like we keep saying, Ken Walters, Matt Paglia always kind of work together. But it'll be interesting to see how long do they stay behind Grant Wesley. Do they make the move? Who makes the move?
Yeah, currently focused on John Godfrey in the 7-Eleven because I'm thinking if anything's going to happen, it's probably going to be from that like 4th, 5th, 6th place. If somebody wants to pull out in front of the 4A and maybe help those guys get that second line moving, it's going to happen there.
I was just going to
say,
they got back down to 2 wide, and because that outside line just kept, like I said, they got people that would go up and work with them for a minute. And then they'd pull out, and then there was guys that went up there and tried to take the momentum away or use that momentum to push them towards the front. But nobody really stayed committed to it. So that outside groove just kind of died off, and now it's just the second groove's trying to run. What's funny, we saw Grant Wesley and Ken Walters and them guys running in the middle groove 20 laps ago. Now they're just stuck right to the bottom. Nobody can get underneath them, and you got to get them, you got to go to the high side.
You're right. Yeah, they changed their line. Their favorite line's the center of that track, but now they're like, nope. They're shutting out. There they go.
We got one around. I see Gary Heiser spinning around.
This might be the end of the race.
5 to 4 to go. It's going to be close, but they're going to race. They're racing back now.
Yep.
You see Ken Walters make a move on the front. He's going to try to see if he can get there. Rodney Sullins started to go with him. But it looks like Grant Wesley made it to the line.
So it looks like it's going to stay Wesley, Roberts, and Sullins. We're going to go back and see what happened. Looks like Heiser got sideways.
So the only thing I can see is we have Brian Roslin is out of the race, but it still shows him 20 laps down.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's going to add lap to this. Now we've been getting 3 laps of caution, right? And if the game sees that and adds a 4th one, you might be right. That might have been the end of the race.
Well, It'd be interesting to see. Stuck in the catch fence.
Oh.
Yeah, that bottled up in that middle line there. They almost collected everything. It's just a little tap. And a little tap at 200 mile an hour. And wow, Paglia went for a ride too in that 28. I believe I can fly.
Oh boy.
La da 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 bee ba da da.
And that was a hard hit and sudden stops.
Wow, over the fence. I would say that was probably the big one. We've had some accidents tonight, but like no real bad damage. There's some bad damage to the 3, and there's definitely bad damage to the 28. Comes right down on top of the 80.
Him go flying by and on the fence.
Yeah, I wonder if we get in the 80 and watch the 28 land on top of him.
Oh,
see if we get inside the cockpit of the 80 and see what he saw.
And none of the front runners have pitted.
Imagine you see that at your windshield.
Oh, I have. Because I drive in the cockpit.
Yeah, he got, instant instant detonation on the motor. 28 truck landed right on top of the 80 and instantly blew the motor out of it.
Oh,
you can see the black cloud when that truck hits them. The black cloud comes out of the hood. Right there, it just turns black smoke, and that'll be it for Eric, unfortunately.
Unfortunate when you're riding along like that. You're just trying to avoid the wreck. Someone lands on you.
Do you want to grab
destroys it?
Eric and bring him in here?
Yeah, we can do that.
So we'll get Eric on. Eric Lovell in the 80 truck, man. You're live on Tarnation TV, dude. You got me? Eric, are you there, bud?
Yes, sir.
Hey, there it is. It's raining 28 trucks, apparently, landed directly on top of you and blew your motor up.
I can't hear you.
All right, you got a full house over there, right?
Yeah, I can't hear you. All right, go ahead.
All right, man. Well, we just wanted to say we were gonna talk to you about the 28 falling out of the sky, and unfortunately ending your day. We've been watching all day. It looked pretty awesome, but I guess
I'm trying to finish with the broken motor here, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess it might. If it stays yellow, you might be able to get there. So, yeah, man.
I think it'll be okay.
We'll let you get back at it, man. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good one, Eric.
I knew Eric. He's got a full house, and every time he keys up to talk, it's usually you can hear the kids playing in the background. So he said there, his mic was a little bit low. I do have compression set to that channel. You probably heard him say he's going to try to finish the race. If this thing stays yellow, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of laps left. I don't think it's going to stay yellow. But like you were saying, too, I know I saw Brian Rawson come up as retired, and then it actually flipped it back to running again on the chart. So, like you were saying, if the game sees him as still out there, it's going to add an extra lap of caution. And Grant Wesley... Yeah, it is Grant Wesley, Ken Roberts, and Rodney Sullins, your top three at the line back there. Gary Heiser has also retired after getting stuck in the fence.
Well, he was stuck.
Yeah, he was stuck. You could have got a tow. But,
yeah,
I mean, what's it worth, right? Like, it's just going to be wrecked.
Now, as fast as that thing stopped, it probably didn't have a motor running in it still.
Yeah. So we need the lights to go out now? If I'm not mistaken, correct? To go green?
Yes. I don't know. Because it would be 2 to go.
Comes back around to 84, and then we got to run the last two. Well, I guess we could get a couple more laps.
Right, but if it goes off now, it's basically a green-white checker.
Right.
Go out and get the green, and then it'll just be a one-lap shootout. You get the green, and then that's it. You literally run around from that point on. Green flag goes around, and whoever gets to the line first is going to be the winner.
Well, we're focused on the pace truck designed by Frank Divins. The Extreme Motorsports pace truck, sponsored by Talladega Nights. Will these lights stop flashing when they come out of the tri-oval and across the start-finish line?
And they're
They did.
One lap shootout.
Wow.
Now, if you thought it was crazy before, hold on to your hat. Now, remember, no matter what, caution comes out. They're racing back to the line.
Yeah, next flag will end the race at the line. So, Chris Elliott in the YouTube chat. Good seeing all my friends out here putting on a great show. Great broadcast to Blaine and Rod. Thanks for watching, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
A lot of hits. Thanks everybody else for watching too. It's a great race. Everybody's in the YouTube chat chattering. We try to keep an eye on it, but sometimes on the track, it's we have to do the track stuff too. So A lot of hits this evening on this broadcast. So thanks again, everybody, for watching this thing. Tarnation TV goes into 2025 alongside Maverick, Ben Snyder, and his whole crew. Start broadcasting some races on Tuesday nights over there, so that'll be kind of neat if you want to follow what we're doing there. We're not going anywhere. People know how to use YouTube.
Well, we got 24 trucks still running out of the 30, I think it was 32 or something that we had to begin with. Eric Level had pitted and still going. He's going to be in the back of the pack, but
retired.
You know, he's still running.
Yeah, Denny Carroll has retired just recently too.
Has he?
Yeah,
must have been involved in that one. We didn't see it.
Yeah, we definitely saw the 3 and the 28 and the 80, and that's
Doug Johnson's on TeamSpeak, a guy I raced with over to Hobo in the modified series. Good little shoe.
Well, we got Pumpkin. Bob Sire in the chat is picking the 7 of Bobby Farrell in this one-lap shootout.
Okay, well, here we go. Ken Roberts or Grant Wesley, Ken Roberts got off there. Wesley spun the tires.
Yeah. So the green flag is up with the white flag. So this is the final lap.
Caution comes out. They race all the way back to the start finish line. So
caution flag is irrelevant. This race will end at the line.
And Ken Roberts, pulled down into the front of Grant Wesley. I think that was a pretty good move. We know Bobby Farrell's got a little bit of damage. So.
Yes, he does. I forgot about that. His spoiler is damaged.
And that may not hurt him, but I believe it's going to.
It looks like he's fading a little bit.
Yep. And now the next question is who goes with who? Ooh.
Oh, wow.
That was crazy. I for a minute, see now Rodney Sullivan's going to the high side now to try to go with, and he's going to go even higher. This is going to be crazy.
Wow, that's
Grant
close.
Wesley pulled it off, I believe.
That is close. The interval on those top 3 trucks, they were beside each other going across the line.
Rodney Sullins and Alex Moe, 0.0.6 each.
Grant Wesley, Ken Roberts to Grant Wesley, 0.017 seconds.
That was. I didn't think Grant would have got it, but he just let them guys get together, and the truck that was behind him, I believe it was Alex Moe, just gave him a good push up through there, and he ended up pulling it off. Pretty good wreck at the end.
Going for a spin. Congratulations, Grant Wesley. That was close, man. That was a great finish. I mean, we did get the green flag finish.
One lap shootout, and they're always excited. I suppose we probably ought to start bringing some of these other guys down there while he's burning his tires down. We'll see if we can't get Rodney Sullins up here.
If you want to handle the interviews, I will handle the post-race setup.
Absolutely. Rodney Sullins. Rod Weston up in the booth. 3rd place tonight. Ran up front most of the night. We kept seeing, I think, maybe you and Ken Walters were working together a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your night.
Me and Ken's gonna work together. We always do. Known him for 20-something years. Just running with the guys that I'm used to running around with over at RTG. I started kind of in the back, and sorry, being whispered. Sorry about that.
That's all good, bud.
But I started in the back, working my way to the front, kind of got in a wreck, not to the front, but in the top 10, got involved in a wreck, slid the truck around, didn't really hurt it. Went back to the back, 30th, I think, restarted again, worked myself back to the front, and then coming out of the pits one time, a black and white truck come out of their pit stall and drove straight up and just doored me out into the grass. So I had to go to the back again, and then work my way to the front again with some pit strategy, some stuff on pit road, and working with some teammates. But that was pretty much the night, just hanging on and having fun.
It almost looked like you were at the coming to the line, that you almost were going to try to see if you could go on the outside of Ken Roberts there. It kind of looked like you poked your nose out there and then just realized it wasn't going to work and ducked back in underneath him.
Well, coming out of the corner there, I was watching Grant, I was watching Ken, and I just wanted one of us three to try to win it.
Yeah.
Since we were up there, and I seen Ken move up a little bit, and then Grant was going to try to go back under him. And at that time, I thought it was so close that Ken might go across his nose. So I just kind of stayed to the right because I'm like, well, if they wreck, I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that kind of gave the door open to Alex to try to get to the Grant's back bumper and push him by Ken. But yeah, but it was good. It was fun. It was pretty. Hope y'all enjoyed that last lap. That was pretty fun.
Oh, absolutely. We were kind of wondering if you guys are going to go, and then one lap shootout, and I figured, well, it's going to be interesting then, just because it's no matter what, it's going to finish once you hit the start finish line. The caution comes out, you guys are still going to go for it. And so it was kind of wondering who was going to work with who, if anybody was, and we kind of figured you guys would scatter out like you did. It was actually it was a good race. I mean, only four or five cautions the whole night. Unfortunately, some of them were pretty big, but
yeah, I seen some sheet metal flying there a couple of times.
See Gary Iser get stuck on the wall, so
seen that.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get on to Ken Roberts here. What if there anybody you want to thank? Give you the floor.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I want to thank obviously you guys, Blaine, Rod, at Tarnation TV. I guess Blaine's still up there.
I am. Yeah, I'm just setting up the. Rod is just kind enough to do the interviews, so I can save replays, get exports, fire up the music, do all the post race stuff. So yeah, thanks.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank you for all you guys do. Graham, Keith, all the admins at Primetime Racing. This is a pretty cool event. I actually like the longer laps. Of course, I'm getting a little older, so I'm gonna have to go to the restroom as soon as I get out of here. But
45% race. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't looking forward to it. I'm not a fan of the trucks. I wasn't looking forward to the laps, but here I am. I almost thought about not. That's why I asked you if you had help. I was gonna just broadcast with you, but. I like the Men Cup cars that they use on Saturdays. But, back to that. Thanks to my teammates at Burnt Screwdrivers Racing, Black Rifle Coffee, Habana Brisa. And you guys have a safe and happy New Year. And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that was Rodney Sellens, our third place finisher. And now we're going to talk to Ken Roberts.
The one and only.
Ken, kind of thought you were going to take that win there at the end there. You got to the high side there, got a little bit of help from Rodney Sellens. Kind of didn't quite work out, but you had the lead pretty much the last about 50 feet.
Yeah. Yep, it was close. That was a good race. I mean, it was on the restart. Bobby Farrell gave me a hell of a shot me out front. So that got me out front, and then that's Grant's a tough one to keep behind you. He's a pretty bad boy racer, so it was fun racing with him and Rodney tonight.
And then you pretty much stayed out of trouble tonight. For the most of the night, you were pretty much right up front. You, Greg Palmer, Grant Wesley, Rodney Sellens, all kind of stayed together and worked together to just kind of log laps and try to keep you guys out front. And I thought maybe you guys would get a little more racier at the end, but all in all, as far as you guys and your team, that was pretty good racing.
Yeah, it was same strategy every week, really. Try to stay out of trouble, have good pit stops, try to keep from getting the black flags on pit road, stuff like that. I mean, and actually it's a pretty good night, they had a wreck there early that had to avoid some stuff. I scraped up against the wall, but I didn't hit it very hard. But all in all, it was a pretty good night, just staying up front. And I was actually short on gas. Appreciate that last caution that came out there. That sure saved me, because I was about a half a lap short.
Oh,
wow.
and that would not have made it fun if you ran out of gas going down the backstretch. There's no fun in that.
No, it's happened before, but I mean, I wasn't going to dive off. I was just going to ride it out, and see where it got us. But that was a fun race. It was a good race. A lot of guys out tonight, and so it good crowd. So some good fun.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you the floor to thank anybody that you want to thank for tonight's event, and we'll get on to Grant Wesley. Thank you a lot.
Well, congrats to Grant. He's tough to beat. Fun to race with. He runs you clean, runs you hard, but he's fun to race. So congrats to him on his win. Like to thank Graham and Keith and all the guys here at Prime. Having this all-star race was a good, lot of fun. Long race, but a lot of fun. My teammates, Rodney and Greg. I think those guys. We help each other as much as we can during the race and try to get together at the end. Try to make it fun anyway. And thank you guys for putting the broadcast on. I can't wait to watch it. So watch that last lap, see how it all falls out. So
It was action-packed, to say the least. According to the stats, actually, it looks like there was a tie for third. Alex Moe and Rodney Sullins, 0.06 from the leader. So it was definitely a wild finish.
They gave it to Rodney, though?
They gave it to Rodney, yep, they did.
Yeah, it's because he's older.
Higher numbers go higher up on the chart.
Yep. Seniors first.
There you go. Age before beauty.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one, and you guys have a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Ken.
You as well. Thanks, Ken.
I use that age before beauty one all the time when I hold the door for somebody.
Yeah.
Even complete strangers sometimes, just to see their reaction.
We got the tires all smoked off.
Yes, there
led,
any
I
Goodyear?
believe,
Is there any
he led
Goodyear
the
rubber
most
left?
laps tonight too. And yes, he
41.
did.
Yep.
Yeah, and ran up front most of the race. Stayed out of trouble. You didn't get called and involved in any of the wrecks, and we weren't really sure what was going to happen. You got a bad start on that last restart, but you were able to pull it off at the end.
Oh man, my heart is still pumping. Yeah. So that last restart, man, I played out some scenarios in my head, but none of them actually turned out true. Yeah, it looked like Bobby Farrell. He anticipated the start there a little bit, did a very good job, and shot Ken out. And at that point, I mean, Ken was in control. I knew I had the 38 behind me. I work with Rodney quite a bit, and Ken both. But those two are a little closer affiliated than I am with them. They're teammates, and I'm sort of just affiliated. And so I knew when push came to shove, I knew where the 38 was going to go. But yeah, I got up there behind the 55 going into turn 3, and I had to try a move on him. Had to try to get him to move the truck up the hill, maybe, and he did. And I just crossed him over. It's the only move I really had. And the 38 got behind the 55, and man, huge thanks to Alex Moe. Alex Moe, you are the man. Man, I owe this win to him. He's what gave me the push there. I seen him. He moved out of that middle lane behind the 38 and just shot to the bottom in the tri-oval. And he's a great driver, and he knew that he would have to push me in the tri-oval, which is a no-no. And he delivered that push, which was just enough to get me just eked out in front of the 55. I think me and the 55 probably would have tied if it wasn't for that. But, man, what a finish.
See, with Alex Moe, just on that, too, because he's always kind of floating around in the back, and then at the end, he's always at the front. It's just, he knows how to hide in that pack. We mentioned him a couple times, but then there he is.
Yeah,
tying for third, pretty much, according to the telemetry.
Yeah, he's got a secret sauce to how he gets it done, and man, he never changes the ingredients. That's for sure. He always starts in the back, runs in the back, and at the end of the race, you can count on them being there.
Unless you're racing at Michigan. Because if you're racing them at Michigan, that guy is out front. He's out front. He stays out front.
And that's the thing, too. I almost want to run a replay on Alex, especially tonight, too, just to see where he was 15 laps before the finish. And just do a fast forward on that to just watch him find his way to the front. You know, like I said, he's always out there, and he's always being discussed at the end of the race. And you're like, but where was he? Like at the start, he was running in 30th. You know, he's hanging out.
I'm actually looking at the replay right now with about 9 to go, and he was running 10th on the inside lane.
Right.
Yeah.
And
he's
then
one of those guys.
He's
one of those guys for those mega marathon races. If you want to win it, you want Alex on your team.
Yeah, and that's me and Alex kind of affiliate each other a little bit through those events. We've been teammates several times.
I was going to ask about pit road, because we had a few yellows, nothing too crazy, but with so many drivers tonight, pits, even under yellow can get pretty hectic. And we had a couple of pretty crazy incidents on pit road. We've watched guys do some cool little moves on pit road, waiting for guys to pull out so they can get in behind. And then, unfortunately, Keith got rolled. Some crazy stuff happening on pit road. So it's like, it's not a safe place.
Yeah, so I keep my phone. I got a little mount here on my rig, so I kind of watch the broadcast a little bit. And I watch that stuff under cautions. I like to see what brought it out. So yeah, I've seen some of those incidents, and the lotto qualifying that we do, it's a double-edged sword for sure. It makes for great racing. It's definitely the way to go. But the con is pit road. Pit road. Sometimes you don't always remember who you started around or even where your box is. So you never know when a guy is going to be coming out of his box or going into it. And, it's already chaotic enough. But, yeah, that's definitely where the excitement happens.
So go ahead, Rod. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, what's the plan for the rest of the weekend? I mean, you guys don't stop racing. The year comes to an end, the racing doesn't stop. So is there a bunch of special events going on next week we should know about? Because most of the leagues, I would think, are kind of in a lull right now.
As far as NASCAR 2003, I don't really know of a whole lot going on. I think Rolling Thunder Gaming, I think they're going to do another fun run with that new DMR mod on Thursdays. I believe that's the plan. Which that's a great mod. It just needs some tweaks. But as far as for me, I do iRacing quite a bit, so pretty much I'll be 100% behind iRacing.
Oh, right on. You looking forward to that new game they're releasing?
I'm not familiar.
Oh, the iRacing guys are releasing a NASCAR standalone.
Oh, yeah. I think, is that for PlayStation or something?
I think it might be console. I've got to look more into it, but I was seeing it kind of pop up, and I think they want to get into that console space, but I'm kind of hoping it maybe makes its way to we were talking about it the last couple of weeks, and I thought it was a PC thing as well, but I haven't been able to find anything on it. So it looks like they're just kind of taking that element and putting it to the consoles, but I hope it makes it to the PC. It's already a PC game. Like, why not just give us, kind of deflated my sale there a little bit when we were talking about it all gung-ho there last week or two ago, and then you're like, oh, might be a console game. That's a shame.
I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't get your hopes down, but I'm pretty sure it's a console game. I think that's sort of them getting their feet wet there.
Yeah, getting back into it again with some sim stuff. Well, that's either way, to get the NASCAR stuff going again, and it all spawns from the old Papyrus code anyway, so I'll support it no matter where it lands. Maybe one day it'll bring it to a computer so I can do a one-time purchase. None of this subscription stuff. Is it still like $12 a month to do the iRacing thing?
Yeah, I think that's around what it is. I usually I wait for like Black Friday or something, and I catch a discount, and I always do 3 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You buy it for the year. You can buy it at Black Friday for the year, and it's a lot cheaper than if you do it pay monthly or actually even 3 months.
Right. Do you run in a league over there, or you just get on public servers?
Yeah, actually, I'm starting to join the league, a Friday league that's going to run before RTG's Amish Survivor Series. SMT Racing Inc. It's sort of a new league that just started up. But yeah, I'm planning to run with them. I used to administer the Dirt series for Rolling Thunder Gaming with iRacing. I did that for several years, and that kind of dwindled away. But some of those guys, like Brian Hogue and Brian Ordo, and some of the guys you guys remember from NASCAR 2003, they still run that stuff, and it could definitely come back. It's just we're not running it right now.
Yeah, right on. Well, there's no shortage of racing, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's in my blood, man. I do it all the time. I mean, every day for a couple hours a day, probably. I've worn my pedals out. I got the Fanatec V3s, and I mean, the aluminum is like some of the circular holes are oval now.
Wow. Do you have shoes?
No, I wear socks.
Oh, okay. Because I know some guys have the driving shoes.
Yeah, I gotta feel what I'm touching.
Yeah, some of the driving shoes are kind of like socks, though, too. Like, it's not even really like a shoe per se, right? It's more of just a really...
I did it when I was racing for real. I wear the racing shoes, and you're right. They're exactly the feel. But when I was able-bodied and I was racing, I had to have socks on. Yeah.
That's so
gotta have
cool.
that feel.
Yeah. I love it that the pedals are that real. Eh? It's like, yeah, wear shoes, don't wear shoes, whatever. You're burning through them. Somebody get Grant a new set of pedals.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man. Well, I guess we could wrap up the broadcast, but yeah, man, thanks a lot for joining us, and of course, as to showing up, because a full house on a Saturday night is always such a cool race to watch. Congratulations again on the win, dude. Floor is yours if you want to, do your thing.
Yeah, I want to thank Alex Moe first and foremost. Like I said, he brought me this win, so thanks to him, I owe him one for sure. And I also want to thank the Burnt Screwdriver guys, 55 to 38, Palmer, all those guys. I run with them at Rolling Thunder, and man, it's great to be around them. Find familiar faces on the track over here, so thanks to those guys for working well with me. And I want to thank the owner here, Keith Bynum, for putting this thing on, having me come out. Man, I really appreciate running with these guys, and thank the admins, Graham McDonald, and just all the guys. I know he's got several that kind of help him in the background. So yeah, thanks to all the administration. I'd like to thank you guys, Tarnation TV, Blaine and Rod. Man, your broadcast is second to none. Looking forward to watching it back. Like to thank my teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend Brittany.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's always cool to hear all the shout outs, and Tarnation TV made it in there again. Yes. Thanks a lot, Grant.
Yeah, hey, thanks guys.
Have a good night, buddy. Congrats. Your all-star race winner at the Primetime Racing League. Thanks to Keith Bynum and Graham McDonald and their entire team over at Primetime for having us call this race. It's always a lot of fun.
It was a good race, a great finish, nail biter right to the end. They had us guessing. They had us, we'd think they were going to do one thing, they do the other, and and sometimes we knew what they were going to do. It was a great race. It was fun to broadcast. They put on a great show for us.
Yeah. We knew that somebody was going to be throwing blocks, so we definitely got the block show going on, and it worked. Because Grant threw the block, and Grant won the race. Just barely, but it still counts. He got it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thanks to everybody who watched the race this evening and was totally interacting on the YouTube channel there. But yeah, again, thank you so much for all the participation on the channel. It's cool, man. It's very, very cool. And of course, to all the drivers who joined the race. I didn't, and it is funny, we were talking before about how there was 8 people, 9 people logged in. And then with about 20 minutes to go, it went to
viral.
37 guys.
Yes.
They all showed up within about 5 minutes. So we're like, oh man, how big is this race going to be? It was almost a full house. So thanks again, obviously, to all the drivers, Primetime Racing, that bringing the pain every week. Always fun. If you want to join that league and you do like NASCAR Racing 2003 season, of course, links are in the description below to find them on Facebook. They basically got a series running every single night of the week. Have yourself a good New Year, Mr. Rod Weston.
Thank you, sir. You as well.
Yep. And we'll, I guess we can end it right there. We'll catch everybody
on the next
probably
one.
In the new year. We'll see you, Tarnation TV. How do I usually end this? If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Keep your stick on the ice.